Well, both of them had very tough semifinal games to get here in the first place. Birmingham beat the Hawaiians a week ago in a ball game that ended up in a 22-19 score. And one of the stars, of course, Matthew Reed, another Alfred Jenkins. This combo has pulled Birmingham out time and time again. Reed also a fine running quarterback. He's the backup to George Myra, but he can do it. On the other side of the ledger, well, the Florida Blazers have a great running game, and it's led by Tommy Riemann, who gained 1,576 yards to lead all rushers in the WFL this year. He had great blocking, but Riemann has been a team leader as he was against Memphis. Florida won that game 18-15 after trailing at the half 15-3. Richard James gives Florida the great outside running threat to go along with Riemann, and those two fellows should put on quite a show tonight.
Good evening, everyone. This is Mel Proctor speaking to you from Legion Field in Birmingham, Alabama, where tonight the Hawaiians will attempt to take one more step toward a possible World Bowl title as they meet the Birmingham Americans, a team that has never lost here at Legion Field. The two clubs met early in the year here, and Birmingham crushed the Hawaiians 39-0. But the Hawaiians have undergone a drastic facelifting since then, adding 22 new players and putting together a 7-3 second-half record and a playoff victory. Included in those second-half wins is a 14-8 victory the Hawaiians scored over the Americans at Honolulu Stadium. Tonight's game will feature a matchup between two of the best quarterbacks in the league in Birmingham's George Myra and Randy Johnson of the Hawaiians. Johnson has been the key to the club's success in recent weeks. He's completed 58% of his passes since joining the club, and last week directed a 32-14 win over Southern California in Anaheim. Johnson has an added incentive tonight. He's returning to the South. 9 years ago, Randy Johnson was the #1 draft choice of the Atlanta Falcons, and he started for the Falcons for 4 years. And a lot of his old friends and relatives have come to Birmingham for tonight's game. Johnson's counterpart is veteran George Myra of Birmingham, an 11-year veteran. He's thrown for 17 touchdowns this year. And after a fast start, Myra has been somewhat erratic in recent weeks. And if he's not effective right away, Birmingham coach Jack Godett told me that he'd bring in rookie Matthew Reed, a big 6'4", 220-pound rookie from Grambling. And he's become somewhat of a local hero for his ability to lead the Americans to last-minute come-from-behind victories. And Reed has 11 touchdown passes to his credit. And I'll have more to say about the Americans as we'll have more pregame activity in a moment.
Why is flying Aloha Airlines so much fun? Well, for one thing, with Aloha's credit card, there's no need to pick up your tickets at the airport. We'll mail them to you the same day you call for reservations. Think of how much fun you'd be having if you were flying the Funbirds of Aloha right now. Aloha Airlines, the one that's fun.
Movie 74. See the best on Channel 9 tonight at 8 with the return of the gunfighter, starring Robert Taylor and Chad Everett.
I don't like the odds you're giving this boy.
Stay out of my fight, Wyatt. Sooner or later, he's going to stray off from your coattails. And when he does, we'll be there.
See the best of movies on Channel 9 tonight at 8 with Return of the Gunfighter.
Things are a little bit on the cool side here in Birmingham. It's 45 degrees right now, and the temperature is expected to drop into the 30s later tonight. Getting back to the Americans, catching the passes of Myra and Reed will be wide receivers Dennis Holman and the Americans' big play man Alfred Jenkins. Holman is a 6-year veteran. He's played with the Kansas City Chiefs and Dallas Cowboys, and he's the team's leading receiver with 61 receptions. And Jenkins is right behind with 60 catches, good for an average of 22 yards per reception. The Americans also have a number of top running backs in Paul Robinson, who was twice an All-Pro with the Cincinnati Bengals, fullback Charlie Haraway, a starter last year with the Washington Redskins, Joe Profit, a 4-year veteran with the Atlanta Falcons, and Jimmy Edwards, a rookie from Northeast Louisiana, who rushed for over 100 yards against the Hawaiians the last time these clubs met here in Birmingham. But the Americans will be without their second leading rusher tonight, Art Cantrell, who's injured. The Hawaiians were in action last week, beating the Southern California Sun, while Birmingham drew a bye in the opening round of the playoffs. And that layoff should be in Birmingham's favor. After a long 20-game regular season, those players really welcome a rest. It gives the injuries a chance to heal up, so the Americans should have the advantage there. Fortunately for the Hawaiians, they didn't suffer any new injuries last week, and they should be in good shape. The fans continue to come into Birmingham's Legion Field. It seats 72,000, and we got a number of estimates from the local people. The most optimistic said they expected about 40,000, and I think the most realistic said between 25 and 30,000. And Hawaiians football warm-up continues shortly.
What we do first, we put you first. You're number one at First Federal Savings and Loan.
First Federal puts you first with a Merry Hawaiian Christmas, an all-Hawaiian Christmas album featuring the orchestra and chorus of Hawaii Calls and guest artists Boise Rodriguez and Haulani Kahalibai. This album is yours free with a deposit of $250 or more. Or you can receive a free holiday gold lapel pin when you open a Christmas Club account with a minimum $5 deposit. There are several styles to choose from. A Merry Hawaiian Christmas or holiday lapel pin where
You're number one at First Federal Savings and Loan.
There are a number of players in tonight's game who've seen previous playoff action. Birmingham quarterback George Myra played in a Super Bowl with the Miami Dolphins and also won with the Baltimore Colts. And he played in a Canadian Football League championship game with the Montreal Alouettes. And he says that this World Football League playoff situation is as important as any games or series of games that he's taken part in. And Hawaiians defensive tackle Ron East played in 9 playoff games in the NFL with the Dallas Cowboys. And he, too, says he's just as excited for this game tonight as any he's ever played in. For those of you who think the home field advantage makes a big difference, I think you might be right in Birmingham's case. The Americans have won 11 straight here at home. They've gone 11-0 at home and 4-5 on the road. The winner of tonight's game will meet the victor in Friday night's contest between the Florida Blazers and Memphis Southmen. That game is being played in Memphis, so it should be interesting to see what happens there. If the Hawaiians win tonight, they'll leave tomorrow for Memphis and will actually have a chance to scout that Florida-Memphis game in person Friday night. So we've got quite a ball game coming up tonight for the winner. Well, they move on to continue their drive toward a possible World Bowl title, and for the loser, the season comes to a bitter end tonight. So stay tuned for the Hawaiians against the Birmingham Americans.
You've been listening to Hawaiians football warm-up on KGM Super B.
A lot of automobile dealers are going to great lengths to let you know how much more the competition is charging for cars and accessories than they are. Well, that makes good sense. But what they don't tell you quite often is how much their cars cost. Now, that may make pretty good sense, too. To them, certainly not to you. The way the economy is today, you really have to know how much you're going to spend and what you're going to get for it. That's why we at Toyota put our price and our product right out on the line. The price is $25.85, and that includes the shipping costs, dealer's prep, everything except state tax and license. The car is the 1974 Toyota Corolla 1200, the one Motor Trend magazine called one of the most economical cars available in this country, both to own and to operate. The Toyota Corolla 1200 with deluxe push-button radio, white walls, and a few other little luxuries. Just $25.85 on Oahu, other islands slightly more. Like the song says,
See how much car your money can buy from Toyota. KGMB Sports.
Joe Moore reminding you the University of Hawaii tackles Rutgers Saturday night at 7:05 on KGMB Honolulu.
For the sportsman, or any man at his leisure, Wren's Menswear has a super selection of new rugby shirts. These 100% cotton sporting knits are available in long and short sleeves, and Wren's Menswear has them in a wide selection of stripes and solid colors. So, put a lot of fashion in your active lifestyle. Come into Wren's and pick out the rugby shirts that match your personality. Wren's Menswear in the Ala Moana Center, Kahala Mall, and the Pearl Ridge Shopping Center.
The World Football League playoffs are brought to you on KGM Super B by Primo Beer. Enjoy Primo Beer, that light Hawaiian beer. By Datsun of Hawaii, Hawaii's #1 used car dealer. By Fisher Hawaii, your one-stop shopping center for fine quality office products. And by Yakiniku House Osaka. Also by Katasako Brothers Jewelers, low-budget homes, Matoi Japanese restaurant, A&A Glass Tinting, and Fireplace Hawaii.
Once again, Mel Proctor speaking to you from Legion Field in Birmingham, Alabama, as we get set to go with tonight's World Football League semifinal playoff game between the Hawaiians and the Birmingham Americans. And right now, the Hawaiians' defensive lineup is being introduced, and the fans are greeting them and not showing Southern hospitality. They're booing the Hawaiians as they're introduced individually. The Hawaiians will open up with Lem Burnham, 6'5", 240-pound rookie from U.S. International at one defensive end. On the other side will be Carl Lorch, a rookie from USC, 6'4", 240. The tackles, Levi Stanley, rookie from the University of Hawaii, 6'2", 250. And the other tackle is the veteran Ron East, 6'4", 250 pounds, an 8-year veteran from Montana State. The linebackers on the left side, Adrian Young, a 7-year veteran from USC who played very well last week against Southern California, intercepting 2 passes. Young stands 6'1" and weighs 220. The middle linebacker is Jim Snydecki, 6'2", 220, and his 6th year from Indiana. On the right side, Gary Backus, 6'4", 2 1/4, a rookie from Oklahoma. At the corners, Otto Brown, 6'1", 190, a 6-year veteran from Prairie View, and Willie Williams, 6 feet tall, 190, a 10-year vet from Grambling. And the safeties, Phil Andre, 6'1", 195, a rookie from Washington, and Chuck Detweiler, a 6-year veteran from Utah State, 6 feet tall, 195 pounds. We'll have the opening kickoff shortly, but first, this word.
Just wait till you try our Primo, why you won't believe the taste. It's a taste that'll make Hawaii proud. In the old tradition of great beer making, we take our place, and it's time for us to really shout loud. Primo's coming on, Primo's here. Brother, you are tasting it till you're tasting Primo beer. Taste what's happening, Primo beer. Brother, you are tasting it till you're tasting Primo beer. Got a brand new brew house, a lot of changes made, and a flavor that'll put us right on top. With pure Hawaiian water, we'll make it taste just right. We're on our way and we aren't gonna stop. Primo's coming on, Primo's here. Brother, you are tasting it till you're tasting Primo beer. Taste what's happening, Primo beer. Brother, you are tasting it till you're tasting Primo beer.
The Jacksonville State University Band from Jacksonville, Alabama has moved onto the field for the playing of our national anthem. The fans continue to come in. The raising of the flag taking place right now. Offensive lineup for the Americans at wide receiver, Dennis Holman, a 6-year veteran from Alabama, and Alfred Jenkins, a rookie from Morris Brown. The tight end is Bob Brown, a 6-year veteran from Alcorn A&M. At the tackles, Paul Costa, a 9-year veteran from Notre Dame, and Bob Wolf, a rookie from Nebraska. The guards are Jim Kriegel, a rookie from Ohio State, and Buddy Brown, a rookie and a hometown boy from Alabama. And at center is John Matlock, a 7-year veteran from Miami. At quarterback is the Matador, George Myra, in his 11th year from Miami. The running backs, Jimmy Edwards, a rookie from Northeast Louisiana. And also starting back there will be Joe Profit in his 4th year also from Northeast Louisiana. So there you have the starting offensive lineup for the Americans. Joe Profit back deep for Birmingham, awaiting the opening kickoff from R.A. Coppage of the Hawaiians. As we're about to get underway with the World Football League semifinal playoff game. Smith on the far side, Profit on the near side. The Americans won the toss, elected to receive, and they'll be defending the south goal. The Hawaiians kicking off and defending the north goal. Hawaiians in brown jerseys, white pants, gold helmets, and gold trim. The Americans in all-white uniforms with red and blue trim. Birmingham 15-5 during the regular season, and the Hawaiians 9-11. Coppage tees up the football, the rookie from Texas, Arlington. A soccer-style kicker. Action moving left to right across your radio dial, and we're ready to go. The Hawaiians against the Birmingham Americans as Coppage moves up to the football. A high, short kick, and Profit takes it at the 15, up to the 20, running laterally at the 25, cuts back, gets to the 30, and he's dragged down at the 33-yard line. And the Americans will go to work 1st and 10. An 18-yard return by Profit on the stop. Larry Eaglin for the Hawaiians. So it'll be 1st and 10 for Birmingham at their 33-yard line. George Myra at quarterback. The running backs, Joe Profit and Jimmy Edwards. The wide receivers, Alfred Jenkins and Dennis Holman. And both Jenkins and Holman split to the left side. The backs are in the eye. Now Edwards drops into the slot on the left side. In motion goes Holman. Behind Joe Profit, the lone setback to give up the middle of Profit. He finds the big hole, rips across the 40, and the football pops loose. Hawaiians recover. Ron East has it as the ball bounced into his arm, and the Hawaiians have the football as East is brought down at the Birmingham 44. Bob Wolf on the tackle. Ron East, the veteran. And this game is off to a very weird and wild beginning. On the first play from scrimmage, Birmingham fumbled, and the Hawaiians have excellent field position at the Americans' 44-yard line. Randy Johnson brings the team up to the line of scrimmage. Vinnie Clements and Al Davis, the running backs. Tim Delaney and John Eisenbarger split to the left. John Kelsey is the tight end. Johnson gives up the middle to Clements, who lowers his head and bangs down to about the 42-yard line. Middle linebacker Warren Capone on the stop. Across that front line for the Hawaiians, Corny Johnson and Bob Richards at the tackles. John Wilbur and Jeff Seavey the guards. Jim Cadile is the center. Cordy Richardson replaces John Eisenbarger at wide receiver, bringing into play from the bench. A gain of 1, 2nd down, 9. Eisenbarger and Richardson make that. Delaney and Richardson split to the left. Johnson will throw. Back he goes into the pocket, looks, fires, and it's intercepted. It's picked off. Larry Willingham has it. He crosses the 40, and he's run out of bounds on the near side of the field at the Birmingham 46-yard line. Larry Willingham picking off Randy Johnson's first attempted pass. And what a strange beginning as the Hawaiians recovered a Birmingham fumble and then cough it up right away as Johnson is intercepted by Willingham. The Americans have the ball at their 47-yard line, no score. All this wild action taking place in the first minute of play. Alfred Jenkins splits to the right side. They operate from the power I formation. Holman now moves out wide to the right. The back's in the eye. Myra takes the snap to give to the second man through, Jimmy Edwards, and he's wrapped up. Making the stop defensively was Carl Lorch, a rookie from USC who played at Kamehameha Schools. No gain on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 10. 13:42 remaining in the first quarter. No score. Lorch, Stanley, East, and Burnham across the front line. East Beast, they're called, as Myra saunters up to the line of scrimmage. John Matlock over the ball at center. In motion is Dennis Holman to the far side. Myra takes the snap, rolls to his right, fires on the run. It's caught by Holman, and he's run out of bounds in Hawaiian territory at the 47-yard line. Holman chased out by Otto Brown. A pickup of about 7 or 8 yards. And they'll spot the ball at the 46-yard line of the Hawaiians. So it'll be 3rd down and 4 for the Americans. Dennis Homan, who played with the Dallas Cowboys and Kansas City Chiefs, splits to the right side. Rookie Alfred Jenkins to the left side. Myra will throw. Backpedaling, looking left, tries to swing it out to his running back, Joe Profit. The pass is incomplete. That brings a couple of scattered boos from the fans. It'll be 4th down. Gary Backus defending for the Hawaiians. And punter Earl Stark enters the ball game for Birmingham. John Mosley drops back deep, along with Willie Williams, who returned his first punt last week against Southern California. Williams on the far side, Mosley on the near side. Stark, the 5th leading punter in the league, averaging 39.3 yards per kick. He'll be booting from his 39. A good snap, very little pressure, and he hangs it up. A wobbly kick, heading for the far sideline. It hits at the 12-yard line and bounces out of bounds. A good placement kick by Stark. They'll mark it at the 11. A 33-yard kick by Earl Stark and no return. And now a timeout on the field with the score. The Hawaiians nothing and the Birmingham Americans nothing.
For your holiday entertainment in your home or in a quiet setting of an exquisite Japanese restaurant, let Matoi help you this holiday season. Call Matoi at 949-8484 for special holiday takeout orders or for reservations. Matoi, located on the 2nd floor of the Pan Am Building, 1600 Kapiolani, with plenty of covered, validated parking. Matoi, Japanese restaurant.
Come out to Fisher, Hawaii, next to Gibson, Puna Puna Pa Street Store.
Getting ripped off on office furniture and supplies, waiting for mainland back orders? Well, my friend, Fisher Hawaii undersells their competitors by 20, 30, 40, sometimes 50%. And they have $750,000 worth of merchandise in stock right now.
Hey, hey, that merchandise is moving and the prices are down. We got the only office product supermarket in town. Fisher Hawaii for your office supplies. Right prices, right products, right now.
The Hawaiians go to work, 1st and 10, operating from their 11-yard line. No score with 13:07 remaining in the first quarter. Eisenbarger and Delaney split to the near side. Clements and Davis, the running back, set behind Johnson. They give us to Al Davis following the block of John Wilbur, and he's going nowhere as he's wrapped up by 3 Birmingham players. Jesse Wolf, the right side defensive tackle, leading the charge. Defensively, John Baker and Larry Estes, the ends. Bob Teterick and Jesse Wolf, the tackles. Steve Manstead, Warren Capone, and Ross Brubaker, the linebackers. William Bryant and Gerard Williams at the corners, and Randy Lee and Larry Willingham, the safeties. No game. It'll be 2nd and 10. Randy Johnson intercepted on his only passing attempt so far. Brady Richardson in at wide receiver. He goes wide left, and Delaney split right. Richardson goes in motion. The give is to Davis as a flag is thrown. Al sweeping the left side, cuts back across the 15 and fights his way up to the 20-yard line. Near a 1st down, but there was a flag on the play, and the preliminary indication is illegal procedure against the Hawaiians. So that will wipe out that gain by Davis. That's the call. So rather than being 1st down, well, it will still be 1st down, but it'll be 1st and 15 rather than 1st and 10. Eisenbarger comes back in, bringing in a play from the bench. Coach Mike Giddings calling all the plays. I think that's 2nd and 15. The ball at the Hawaiian 6-yard line as Delaney splits out to the right side. Eisenbarger also wide right. He's the inside man. Johnson gives to Clements up the middle, and Vinny is dumped as he gets about a yard. Bob Teterick, a 7-year veteran from Miami, making the stop. Teterick played with the Buffalo Bills, as did his current teammate Paul Costa and Richard Cheek, an offensive guard for the Hawaiians. They all played with the Bills. 3rd down 13, a pickup of 2 yards. Hawaiians trying to dig out of their own territory and get things rolling. Richardson splits left. John Kelsey, the tight end, also splits out to the left side. The give to Al Davis. Starts up the middle, slants to the outside, breaks the tackle. He's across the 15 and knocked down at about the 19-yard line, but he will be short of a 1st down. Larry Willingham making the stop as Davis nearly broke away. So punter Gary Backus comes on. And back deep for the Americans is Alfred Jenkins. And also back deep, Willie Smith, the leading punt returner in the World Football League. Jenkins on the near side and Smith on the far side. Backus will be kicking from his 3-yard line, so Birmingham may come with a big rush. Let's see what they do. Backus waits for the snap from center Levi Stanley. A high snap. Backus gets it. Here comes the pressure, and he barely gets it off. A wobbly kick. It'll be taken by Jenkins. Running laterally, now reverses, coming to the near side, and he's dropped right at midfield. Ray Hester, a linebacker, down there making the stop for the Hawaiians. And Birmingham will go to work, 1st and 10, the ball right at the 50-yard line. And now a timeout on the field with the score. The Birmingham Americans nothing and the Hawaiians nothing.
If you've been thinking about a couple alterations for your home, get in touch with the folks from Low Budget Homes Incorporated. Low Budget Homes is the Hawaiian Kama'aina firm with more than 20 years of experience in additions, alterations, even complete modular home construction. Low Budget Homes is the Hawaiian expert in residential, commercial, or industrial construction. Give them a call. Low Budget Homes, 2828 Pa'a Street, phone 833-3031.
Everyone loves the warm Hawaiian sun until those harmful rays take their toll on your drapes, furniture, and carpeting, doing hundreds of dollars of damage. But you can protect your home interior with colorful tinted glass from A&A Glass Tinting. A&A's tinting and film come in a variety of decorator colors backed up by a 3-year guarantee. And they stop 98% of the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays, leaving your home cool and protected. A&A Glass Tinting. For free estimates, call 261-1337. 261-1337.
The Americans with the football, 1st and 10, right at midfield, no score, 10:47 remaining in the first quarter. The back to the eye behind George Myra. Holman goes in motion to the far side. Long count by Myra, he turns, pitches to Edwards, following a block of Profit, cuts off the block, gets across midfield and up to about the 48-yard line, where left side linebacker Adrian Young brings him down. Edwards rushed for 150 yards the last time these clubs met here in Birmingham. Very quick little back, 5'9", 180. Started his collegiate career at Oklahoma, and there he played with Gary Backus of the Hawaiians. And Backus said at that time the Oklahoma coaching staff thought that Edwards was better than Greg Pruitt, who had a great career. Myra will throw, backs into the pocket, looks, dancing out of trouble, lets one fly long. Nobody there but Willie Williams, and he picks it off at the 15-yard line, and he's dropped immediately. Willie Williams going high for the ball. The nearest receiver, I would imagine, was Jimmy Edwards, but he was about 15 yards away from the football, and it was thrown right to Willie Williams. The second Birmingham turnover. Ron East recovering a American's fumble on the opening play from scrimmage. No score as the Hawaiians go to work at their 16-yard line. Eisenbarger splits to the right side, Tim Delaney to the left. Clements set in the slot on the right side. Johnson gives to Al Davis, finds some running room up the middle, and fights his way down to the 19-yard line. Middle linebacker Warren Capone on the stop. There are a number of people playing in this game that were judged to be too small by NFL scouts. Warren Capone is one, a 6'1", 215-pound linebacker. Of course, you've got John Mosley of the Hawaiians at 5'7", 165. Most NFL scouts wouldn't figure he'd even be the water boy. Gain of 3, 2nd and 7. As Johnson moves up under center. Brandy gives to Al Davis, following Jeff Seavey around the left side, crosses the 20, 25, 30, and he's dragged down at the 34-yard line after picking up a first down. Strong safety Randy Lee bringing down Davis after a 15-yard gain. So the veteran from Tennessee State is off to a big start tonight. 9:12 remaining in the first quarter and no score. Eisenbarger back in the ball game as Mike Giddings shuttles his wide receivers. Delaney splits left, Eisenbarger right. Johnson waiting for the football from center Jim Cadillo. Randy will throw, backs into the pocket, has time, looks, fires, and tipped and almost picked off, but it falls incomplete. Willie Smith touched it, and it was intended for John Eisenbarger at the Birmingham 47, but the ball fell incomplete. It'll be 2nd and 10. Smith, a rookie from Morris Brown. He had a 78-yard punt return here in Birmingham the last time these clubs met. Talk about the big play. Myra completed a 95-yard pass to Alfred Jenkins in that game. Smith had a long punt return. And Edwards had about a 70-yard run from scrimmage in that contest. 2nd and 10. In motion, Grady Richardson to the far side. Johnson steps back, fires for Delaney. Tim's in trouble, and he's dumped back at the 32-yard line. A loss of 2 yards on the play. The flanker screen, but Delaney had absolutely no blocking as he was brought down by Larry Estes, the right defensive end. Eisenbiger in, Richardson out. 3rd and 13 for the Hawaiians. 8:25 remaining in the first quarter. These clubs have split games this year. Birmingham taking the first 39-0 here at Legion Field, and the Hawaiians the second 14-8. Johnson to throw, sets up short, fires left side. The pass is intercepted, and it's dropped. Almost picking it off was Steve Manstead, and he would have been off to the races had he held on to the football. It looked like the ball was deflected at the line of scrimmage and kind of fluttered out there, and Manstead looked like he had it and then dropped it. Johnson is now 0 for 3 with 1 interception. So it'll be 4th down, and Backus will have to kick the ball away. Smith and Jenkins stand back at the Birmingham 30. Backus will be kicking from his 16. A good snap, a 2-man rush. Backus really booms one out. A high, lazy floater to send Jenkins back to the 20. Straight upfield, and he's hit at the 24-yard line. A good hard tackle by Clayton Heath. Greg Wojcik also down there. But a flag on the play back at the Hawaiian 33. And let's see what the call will be. Everybody seems to be headed back the other way. Still no word on the penalty. A 48-yard punt by Backus, but he may have to do it again. Penalty will be against the Hawaiians. Illegal procedure. And they are penalized back to their 27-yard line. So that fine punt by Backus will be nullified by the penalty. Smith and Jenkins will move up about 5 yards to the 32. Backus will kick from his 11-yard line. Let's see what Gary can do this time. No score here in the first quarter. Backus takes the snap. And a short, poor kick, a wobbly kick, taken on the dead run by Jenkins in midfield. Bounces off a tackle up to the 40, the 35, still on his feet at the 30. And he is finally brought down at the 26-yard line of the Hawaiians. A tremendous punt return by Alfred Jenkins, who took the ball in full stride, bounced off 2 tacklers, and rolled down at the 26-yard line of the Hawaiians. And that has to give this club a big lift. Jenkins can really fly. A 30-yard return following a poor kick of 31 yards by Backus. And Myra would like to strike right away. Edwards drops into the slot on the left side. Holman goes in motion to the far side. Profit the lone setback. He takes the handoff, juking his way up the middle and gets about 4 or 5 yards to the 20. Profit, a former #1 draft choice of the Atlanta Falcons. As recently as 1973, he's been hobbled by injuries. Middle linebacker Jim Snydecki on the stop. Gain of 4 yards. 7:26 remaining in the first quarter. A scoreless first quarter, but Birmingham has something brewing right now. Myra moves up. Edwards and Profit set behind him. Long count by Myra. Fakes into the line, gives to Edwards, sweeping the right side across the 20, 15, 10. Breaks the tackle. He's inside the 5 and down to the 2-yard line. Jimmy Edwards stopped short of a touchdown by Lem Burnham. And he looked like a pinball bouncing around out there. It'll be 1st and goal to go for Birmingham at the Hawaiians' 2-yard line. Edwards on the carry. The little guy from Northeast Louisiana is off to another big night, perhaps, against the Hawaiians. Myra calmly moves up to the line of scrimmage. Charlie Haraway in at fullback along with Joe Profit. Myra on the give to Haraway. Smashes straight ahead. He's in for a touchdown. And Birmingham goes out in front, 7-0. Charlie Haraway entered the ball game for that one play and smashed over from the 2 for the touchdown. Haraway's 9th touchdown of the year. He had 8 during the regular season. So 7-0 Birmingham. That score came with 6:25 remaining in the first quarter as Myra brings his team up to the line for the action point attempt. Haraway and Profit shift out of the eye. Long count by Myra. Play fake. Rolling to his right, looking for Haraway, and a low throw. It's incomplete. So a timeout on the field with the score. The Birmingham Americans 7 and the Hawaiians nothing.
Just wait till you try our Primo. Why, you won't believe the taste. It's a taste that'll make Hawaii proud. In the old tradition of great beer making, we take our place. And it's time for us to really shout out loud. Primo's coming on. Primo's here. Brother, you aren't tasting it till you're tasting Primo beer. Got a brand new brew house, a lot of changes made, and a flavor that'll put us right on top. With pure Hawaiian water, we'll make it taste just right. We're on our way and we aren't gonna stop. Taste what's happening, Primo beer. Brother, you aren't tasting it till you're tasting Primo beer.
Birmingham leading the Hawaiians 7-0. Earl Sark set to kick off for the Americans. Brady Richardson and Ernie O'Leary standing back at the 11-yard line awaiting Sark's kickoff. 2-yard touchdown run by Charlie Haraway, getting the Americans out in front. That following a 30-yard punt return by Alfred Jenkins. Sark moves up to the football. A high, short kick. Brady Richardson gathers it into the 15. Straight upfield to the 20, 25. Running to his right. And he is knocked down. Clotheslined at the 29-yard line. He nearly had his head taken off by Ronald Fox. 15-yard return. Fox stuck out his arm and clotheslined Richardson. They mark it at the Hawaiians 29. So Johnson, who has been off to a miserable start so far, moves into the huddle. And he'd like to have a big night with a lot of his relatives and friends looking on. Eisenbarger and Delaney split to the right. Johnson may have to go to the air. Eisenbarger goes in motion to the far side. Johnson backpedals, sets up deep, looks in trouble, fires to his short man. It's incomplete. Intended for Clements, and Johnson is decked. Johnson was hit by Jesse Wolf, and he had to hurry his pass. Pass is incomplete. Johnson on the night is 0 for 5 with 1 interception. He has completed 58% of his passes coming into this game. Second down 10 for the Hawaiians at their 29-yard line. Trailing 7-0. Richardson splits left. Kelsey, the tight end, splits out about 5 yards on the left side. Delaney is wide right. To give to Al Davis, he's dragged down in his own backfield. A loss on the play of 2 yards. Middle linebacker Warren Capone shot through there. And the Hawaiians are very slow to get started. This home crowd is really fired up. Keep in mind that Birmingham has never lost a game here at Legion Field. They have gone 11-0. Davis has now carried 5 times for 25 yards, and he's the only semblance of an offense so far. Delaney left, Eisenbarger right. 3rd and 11. Johnson to throw. Back into the pocket. Here comes the rush. Randy fires. Caught by Delaney at the 45. And he has the first down. Tim Delaney, the league's leading receiver. He's had good success against Birmingham this year. And Delaney talked about what he might expect from this Birmingham defense.
Well, I really don't know what they will do. We look at films, and I'm sure they look at films. And you have an idea, but you never really know until on the field, because they can come up with a completely different defensive tactic. And so as far as what they will do, I really don't know.
Johnson will go to the air again, backs, dumps it off. He shot puts it over the middle. The pass is complete to Ernie O'Leary. He fumbles, and Birmingham has recovered. The pass complete to O'Leary. He was hit, fumbled the football, and Ross Brubaker recovered for the Americans. So both teams turning the ball over tonight. And that chokes off that Hawaiian drive. Hawaiian's second turnover of the night. The other an interception. And the Americans leading 7-0 have the football at the Hawaiians 49. Jenkins and Holman split to the right side. Edwards and Haraway, the running backs. Myra gives to Haraway. Slants to the outside, turns the corner, and drags a man with him clear up to the 41-yard line. Haraway literally dragged Chuck Detweiler for about 5 yards. Detweiler had him by the jersey, and Haraway is a very powerful runner. Dragged Detweiler up to the 40-yard line. A gain of 8 yards. It'll be 2nd and 2. 4:24 remaining in the first quarter. The Americans jumping out to a 7-0 lead on a 2-yard run by Haraway. Jenkins wide right, and Holman is set inside on the right side. Myra takes the snap, gives to Haraway, blasting off right tackle, and he has the first down. Haraway punches down to about the 37-yard line. Making the stop was Ron East, the left side defensive tackle. So it's been all Birmingham so far. Although it didn't start that way, as the Americans fumbled on the opening play from scrimmage, the Hawaiians recovered, and then right away gave the ball back on an interception. 3:40 left in the quarter. Myra looking things over. The Matador, who's bounced around the NFL and the Canadian League. George takes the snap, gives to Haraway a big hole up the middle, and Haraway is knocked down as he gets to the 31. Pickup of about 6 yards. Make it 5 yards. It'll be 2nd and 5. East and Snydecki on the stop. Haraway was a starter last year for the Washington Redskins. They have a fine stable of running backs. Paul Robinson, a 2-time All-Pro, hasn't even played yet. He once led the NFL in rushing with the Cincinnati Bengals. 2nd and 5. Holman goes in motion. They give it to Edwards, sweeping the left side. He falls down, bounces back up, and then it's thrown down by Carl Lorch. At the 34, there'll be a loss of about 2 yards on the play. Edwards looked like a little rubber ball, bouncing right off the artificial surface. 2:36 left, 7-0 Birmingham here in the first quarter. They spot the ball just inside the Hawaiian 35. Jenkins and Holman split to the right side. Otto Brown will take Jenkins. Willie Williams is on Holman. Myra will throw. Back into the pocket. Looks. Fires. It's picked off by Snydecki at the 30, to the 35, to 40. Across midfield. And he's all the way up to the 42-yard line of Birmingham. Snydecki looked like a basketball player going up for a rebound as he plucked the ball out of the air. And the fans boo George Myra. Jimmy Edwards was the intended receiver. So both teams are really turning the ball over tonight. With 1:55 left in the opening quarter, it's 7-0 with the Americans out in front. Birmingham's third turnover so far in the opening quarter. The Hawaiians have had 2. Brady Richardson to the right, Delaney to the left. Johnson takes the snap, gives to Al Davis up the middle, and Al is going to be stopped for no gain on the play. He managed to get back to the line of scrimmage before Steve Manstead hit him. Eisenbarger checks in with a play. The clock ticking, 1:20 left in the first quarter. Strange ball game so far. 2 teams who've been playing very well lately have made all kinds of mistakes here in the first quarter. Jim Cadile over the ball at center, the 11-year veteran from San Jose State. Johnson will throw, drops straight back, looks long, unloads it for Delaney. There's some bumping going on, but no flag. Delaney thought perhaps he was interfered with by Gerard Williams. There was definitely some contact there, but no flag, so the pass goes incomplete. As Johnson was trying to loft the bomb to Tim Delaney on the left sideline. 3rd down 8 for the Hawaiians. At the Birmingham 39. Delaney split left, picked up again by Williams. Clements in the slot right. He's starting the second half at quarterback. Matthew Reed is warming up on the sideline. Paul Robinson drops into a slot on the left side. Profit the lone setback. Myra takes the snap, turns, gives the Profit, and he falls in the seat of his pants. Profit slipped and fell at the 36-yard line. Willie Williams covering in there. They watered down the artificial surface prior to the ball game, so it may be a little bit wet. No gain on the play. It's second down and 10. Hawaiians leading 11-7. With about 8 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Myra on the give. The handoff is to Joe Profit, and he's brought down. Getting about 2 yards. Phil Andre on the stop. So the momentum has really changed. The Americans ended the first half at the Hawaiians' 4-yard line. Perhaps that bit of frustration took something out of Birmingham. They're slow to get started here in the second half. Myra takes the snap, rolling to his right. He wants to throw, fires on the run, and it is complete. Up near midfield to Dennis Holman on a comeback pattern. And he gives the Americans the first down. So the ball just inside the 50 on the Hawaiian side. Phil Andre making the stop defensively. 11-7, the Hawaiians leading. Birmingham drew first blood as Charlie Haraway went over from 2 yards out. The Hawaiians came back with a 30-yard field goal by R.A. Coppage and then scored a touchdown here in the second half. First and 10 for the Americans at midfield. Robinson goes in motion to the far side. Myra rolls to his right, gives the Profit over the right side, up to the 40, 35, breaking tackles, gets down to the 32-yard line. Gary Backus brings him down. A fine run by Joe Profit. He's had a big night this evening. 19-yard pickup for Profit. He had 77 yards rushing in the first half. Great things have been expected of Profit for, well, since he came out of college. Back in 1971, he was the #1 draft pick of the Atlanta Falcons. But he's had injury problems. First and 10 for the Americans at the Hawaiians 31. Myra gives to Profit up the middle, juking and faking, and he gets down to the 27-yard line, where Ron East brings him down. So in the last game, it was Jimmy Edwards who hurt the Hawaiians. The last game here at Legion Field between these clubs, and tonight it's been Joe Profit. Substitution at tight end, Ted Powell checks in, replacing Bob Brown. Second down 5 for the Americans. At the Hawaiians 26. Holman splits to the right side. Alfred Jenkins to the left. The backs in the eye, Profit and Robinson. Robinson goes in motion to the far side. Myra gives the Profit off right tackle. Adrian Young wraps him up. Phil Andre puts in his 2 cents worth. Profit spins around, drops the football, and winds up as if to punch Andre. But the official steps in. Profit thought he was hit a little bit late by Phil Andre. Tempers are bound to run a little bit high in a ball game like this. There's a lot at stake. Joe Profit carried the ball 11 times so far tonight, good for 107 yards.
45 seconds.
7:45 remaining here in the third quarter. The time being announced to the crowd by the public address announcer as the scoreboard clock is not functioning. Profit, the lone setback. He gets the call up the middle. Shoots through a little hole and picks up a first down inside the 20 to the 19. So the Americans continue to move. Making the stop defensively was Levi Stanley, along with Carl Lorch. Hawaiians leading 11-7, and things have really opened up here in the second half. Hawaiians scoring. Randy Johnson on a quarterback sneak. First and 10, Birmingham. At the Hawaiians 19. Holman right, Jenkins left. Robinson and Profit are split. The inside handoff to Robinson. He breaks one tackle and fights his way down to the 15, where Levi Stanley brings him down. The Americans have had great success running the ball tonight. Give a lot of credit to that offensive line. Paul Costa and Bob Wolf, the tackles. Jim Krigel and Buddy Brown, the guards. John Matlock, the center. The ball just a shade inside the 15-yard line. The Hawaiians 15. Hawaiians leading 11-7. It'll be second down and a long 6 for the Americans as Myra steps up under center. Holman puts out to the right. The movement on the front line by the Hawaiians. The give is to Profit. No flags are down, and Profit is dropped for no gain. Hit by the right side of that defensive line, Lorch and Stanley, along with Gary Backus. I have no idea what the fans are reacting to. Scoreboard evidently came on momentarily. The fans started cheering, and then the scoreboard went off again. The clock conked out at halftime and hasn't worked since. Third down 6 for the Americans at the Hawaiians 15. Birmingham trailing 11-7. The back shift out of the eye. Holman comes in motion. Myra with a play fake, backpedaling, looking right, unloads the bomb. He's got a man out there. Caught. Touchdown. Making the catch was Alfred Jenkins as he got behind Phil Andre. But a flag on the play, and they're going to call this one back. Well, that was Brown rather than Jenkins on the reception. Bob Brown, the tight end, but they're going to bring the ball back, so it really doesn't matter. Penalty coming up against Birmingham. Holding. That'll cost them 10 yards to the 25. So the Americans almost went back out in front. But an apparent touchdown pass is wiped out by a holding penalty. 5:02 remaining in the third quarter. It's been announced to the crowd. Third down 15 for the Americans. Myra takes a draw, drops back, being chased. He's in trouble. He's going to be sacked for a huge loss. He fumbled the ball. And the Hawaiians have it. But the official is blowing the play dead, and I don't believe it. Now a fight breaks out. Carl Lorch decks George Myra. What a strange set of happenings here. It looks like, well, they sacked Myra back at the Hawaiians 45. A loss of over 20 yards. Myra fumbled the ball. It looked like the Hawaiians had recovered before the play had been blown dead, but evidently not. Then Myra and Lorch got into an argument. Lorch wound up and decked Myra. Birmingham still has the ball, but they'll have to punt. Sark will kick from his own 40. Mosley and Willie Williams back deep for the Hawaiians. A high snap. Sark reaches up. He's going to run. Now he kicks on the run. A short kick. Mosley lets it bounce, dances out of the way. The ball gets a Birmingham roll and goes out of bounds at the 11. Oh, man, we've seen everything. Sark, the punter, saw that he was getting no rush, started to run. Then he got a little bit of pressure and kicked the ball on the run. And the Hawaiians will have it. 35-yard punt. 4 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in the third quarter. The Hawaiians leading 11-7 in a wild, wild ball game. I don't know what Myra said to Carl Lorch a moment ago, but I don't think George will say it again. I'll tell you, that was a quick whistle. Now, finally, the scoreboard clock is on, but they're going to have to adjust the numbers. And now it's off again. The official coming over to the Hawaiians bench. I think they're taking a timeout here to get the clock squared away. So we'll stay right here as we're not sure just when action is going to resume. 11-7. The Hawaiians out in front of the Birmingham Americans in this World Football League semifinal playoff game. Good crowd on hand tonight, somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 to 30,000. Birmingham has averaged better than 37,000 playing here at Legion Field. Now we're ready to go. The Hawaiians will have the ball. First and 10, their own 11-yard line. And they are booed soundly by the American fans. Johnson at the controls. Randy takes the snap, gives to Ernie O'Leary. who runs into a blocker, Jeff Seavey, and falls down. Ernie managed to pick up 2 or 3 yards. Seavey looked like he was going the wrong way. Either that or Ernie O'Leary was going the wrong way, but they collided. Ernie still managed to pick up 2 yards. Warren Capone, the middle linebacker, on the stop. And it is getting cold here in Birmingham. Tip of my nose is a little bit on the red side. 2nd down, 8 for the Hawaiians. Cadillo over the ball at center. Clayton Heath in the backfield. Johnson will throw. Gets big pressure. Looks long. Fires for Eisenberger. A battle for it. Almost picked off. Willie Smith can't hang on at midfield. As the pass was underthrown, Smith had it and then dropped it. It was intended for Eisenberger. Vinnie Clements checks into the Hawaiians backfield, replacing Clayton Heath, who was in there on that one play. Oh, roughly about 2.5 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter. American fans chanting defense, defense. O'Leary the lone setback. Everybody else is out wide. Johnson gives to O'Leary, and again he runs into Jeff Seavey, his blocker, and this time he's dropped for a loss. Looks like some kind of mix-up. Somebody is fouling up somewhere as O'Leary and Seavey collided for the 2nd time. Larry Estes making the stop. It'll be 4th down, 4th and 11, a loss of a yard, and Gary Backus will have to punt. Line of scrimmage is the Hawaiians' 12-yard line. I believe they have announced 3:15 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Backus will be kicking from his own end zone. Jenkins and Smith are deep for Birmingham. Backus awaiting the snap from Levi Stanley. A good snap. Here comes a big rush, and he barely gets it away. A wobbly spiral taken by Smith in the dead run at the 40. Backtracking, he's in trouble, and he's wrestled out of bounds in front of the Americans' bench. Good coverage that time by the Hawaiians, but the punt was almost blocked. And now the boys start to have a little discussion on the far side in front of the Birmingham bench. We have an American player, Smith, very slow to get up. A 32-yard kick by Backus. And now a timeout on the field with the score, the Hawaiians 11 and the Americans 7.
Just wait till you try our Primo, why you won't believe the taste. It's a taste that'll make Hawaii proud. In the old tradition of great beer making, we take our place, and it's time for us to really shout out loud. Primo's coming on, Primo's here. Brother, you are tasting it till you're tasting Primo beer. Taste what's happening, Primo beer. Brother, you are tasting it till you're tasting Primo beer. Got a brand new brew house, a lot of changes made, and a flavor that'll put us right on top. With pure Hawaiian water, we'll make it taste just right. We're on our way and we aren't gonna stop. Primo's coming on, Primo's here. Brother, you are tasting it till you're tasting Primo beer. Taste what's happening, Primo beer. Brother, you are tasting it till you're tasting Primo beer.
Matthew Reed has replaced George Myra at quarterback, so the fans get their wish. The big, strong rookie from Grambling is in there. The give up the middle is to Joe Profit. He lunges forward for about 5 yards to the 35 of the Hawaiians, where he runs into Levi Stanley. So Matthew Reed, a rookie from Grambling, 6'4", 225 pounds, is in the ball game. He's thrown for 11 touchdowns this year. He's also been intercepted 12 times. But he has a rifle arm. They say he can throw the football 90 yards in the air. The scoreboard clock is back on. But they have yet to adjust the numbers. Reed on the give to Profit, off left tackle, wrapped up by Backus as he gets to the 32-yard line. Backus, one of the fine rookies in the World Football League this year, out of Oklahoma. 70% of the gate receipts from tonight's ball game will be divided up between the two teams after expenses. The winner will get 60%, the loser 40%, and the other 30% will go to pay off part of a huge debt owed by Birmingham to the Internal Revenue Service. 3rd down 2 for the Americans. Reed will throw, rolling to his right, sets up, fires long, wide open is Jenkins, touchdown. Alfred Jenkins was wide open. He spikes the football in the left corner of the end zone. As Reed rolls to his right, stops, fired back against the grain, and Jenkins was wide open at about the 3-yard line. Chuck Detweiler, the defender, slammed his fist into the wire fence surrounding the field in disgust. Detweiler's playing with a badly pulled groin muscle, and it's a tough chore to keep up with a guy like Jenkins even when you're healthy. So it's 14-11. The Americans out in front as this game has seesawed back and forth. Birmingham will go for the action point from the 2.5-yard line. Holman and Ted Powell split to the right side. Profit and Robinson, the running backs. Reed will throw. Rolling to his right, looking, fired, and it's complete to Powell. So the action point is good. A timeout on the field with a score. Birmingham 15, the Hawaiians 11.
It's all out there. Half the world is out there waiting for you on Northwest Orient. Now's the time. Half the world is out there waiting for you on Northwest Orient. Just relax, stretch your legs and sail back. Northwest comfort all the way. Jumbo jets, streaking across the open sky. Northwest takes you all the way. We give you half the world on Northwest Orient Airlines.
Going to Tokyo, Northwest Orient offers 2 non-stop stations, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 6:10 in the evening, both roomy 747s. Only Northwest gives you a big wide cabin jet on every flight from Hawaii to the Orient or to the mainland.
KGM Super B.
Stark's kickoff is taken by Grady Richardson. He brings it back across the 30, the 35, up to the 40, where he's hit and dropped by Gary Champagne. A 20-yard return, and the Hawaiians will go to work, trailing 15-11 with 1:25 left in the third quarter. And once again, the scoreboard clock is out of order. Delaney splits right. Eisenbarger also moves out to the right side. John goes in motion. Long count by Johnson. Play fake. Back to throw. Sets up. Fires. Caught by Delaney. Now it's incomplete. It looked like he had it and then dropped it. Steve Manstead defending. Delaney running a slant over the middle. Eisenbarger will leave. Richardson replaces him. Johnson now has completed 6 of 15 passes for 116 yards for the Hawaiians, and he has warmed up considerably in the second half. Richardson right, Delaney left. Clements in the slot on the right side. Kelsey split out about 5 yards, also on the right. Richardson goes in motion. Johnson gives to Ernie O'Leary, sweeping the right side. Hits a block, lunges forward, gets about 4 yards to the 44-yard line of the Hawaiians, where Bob Teterick brings him down. Defensively, John Baker and Larry Estes the ends. Bob Teterick and Jesse Wolf for the tackles. Ross Brubaker, Warren Capone, and Steve Manstead, the linebackers. Willie Smith and Gerard Williams at the corners. Randy Lee is the strong safety, and Larry Willingham the weak safety. 3rd and 7. Scoreboard clock blinks back on again. Johnson waiting for the football. Bobbles the snap, gets it, drops back to throw, fires over the middle, and it's complete to Tim Delaney, but he doesn't get much. Gets about 3 yards before he's wrapped up by Gerard Williams. So it'll be 4th down. The Hawaiians will have to kick the ball away. Birmingham's defense is really fired up, and it's amazing how the momentum has shifted back and forth in this ball game. The big play seems to inspire each team. The Lions came out winging in the second half and went out in front. Birmingham now leads 15-11. And here's the gun sounding the end of the third quarter with the score. Birmingham 15 and the Hawaiians 11.
Once and only once at these prices, and only at ARA George Corporation. AM car radios installed with antenna and speakers, all for only $27 complete. AM/FM only $77.03. Remember, installation, antenna, and speakers included in the price. AM/FM stereo with an 8-track stereo player at only $129.42. Use your charge card, but do it now. ARA George Corporation, 648 KM Oka Street, a block Malka of Ala Moana Center. Looking for Yakiniku House Osaka? They are no longer in their own location on Kapiolani. The new Yakiniku House Osaka is located at 1020 Ke'Imoku, serving the same great traditional Japanese dishes.
Sizzling beef, delicate seafood, mouth-watering chicken, pork, and liver. Try any one or a combination of delightful Japanese dishes. Relax in the lounge with your favorite cocktail, traditional Japanese dining, lunch, or dinner. And plenty of parking at Yakiniku House Osaka on the corner of Young and Keiyumoku. For reservations, 524-1141.
We start the fourth quarter with Birmingham leading the Hawaiians 15-11. Backus in punt formation standing at his 32. Jenkins and Willie Smith back deep for Birmingham, standing at the 16. Backus takes the snap, very little pressure, and he hangs up a wobbly spiral. Smith lets it roll and takes the Hawaiian roll inside the 10, and it will die at the 6-yard line. That's where the Hawaiians will go on defense as they have Birmingham backed up against their own end zone. A 44-yard kick by Backus. He's really kicked under heavy pressure tonight. 14:45 remaining in the ball game. And this fourth quarter should be a dandy. Been a good ball game to watch so far. Not textbook football by any means. A lot of mistakes, a lot of turnovers, a lot of wild plays. Real crowd pleaser. Matthew Reed is in the game, having replaced George Myra. First and 10, Birmingham at their 6-yard line. Holman goes in motion. Long count by Reed. Quarterback sneaks straight ahead. The flags go flying. And Reed gets about 5 yards. Looked like a broken play. But a flag on the play. Reed is a fine rusher. He's carried the ball 40 times for 174 yards this year. Good for a 4.4 average. And he's rushed for 3 touchdowns. I've been informed that the scoreboard is now correct. And that brings a sarcastic round of applause from the fans. Illegal procedure against Birmingham, so they are penalized half the distance to the goal line to have the ball at their own 3. It'll be first and 13. And with an arm like Reed's, the Americans can dig themselves out of a hole in a hurry. Reed waiting for the snap. He gives to Joe Profit. Sweeping the left side. He's in trouble. Backus has him and wrestles him down at the 5. Willie Williams also helps out. Gary Backus playing a fine game tonight. The rookie and the veteran combine on the tackle. Gain of about 2. It'll be second and 11. The ball at the Birmingham 5-yard line. The Hawaiians sacked Southern California's quarterback 6 times last week, but they have been held in check tonight by the Birmingham offensive line. They've done a good job of giving Myra and Reed protection. Jenkins splits left. Holman to the right. Reed on the draw. The give is to Paul Robinson. He slashes out across the 5 to the 7-yard line, where Backus is again on a stop. And it will now be 3rd down and 7. Adrian Young checks in for the Hawaiians at linebacker, replacing Ray Hester. Adrian Young has a full head of hair and a full beard. And for that reason, the Chicago Bears cut him loose. Abe Gibron, the coach of the Bears, likes the crew cut. 3rd and 7 for the Americans from their 7-yard line. Reed will throw. Sets up, looks in trouble, dances out of trouble, fires complete. And he has the first down. The pass was to Dennis Holman. Make it Alfred Jenkins rather than Holman. And so Reed takes the Americans out of trouble on a big down. Birmingham leads 15-11 with 12:56 left in the game. They now have a first down at their 23-yard line. Detweiler and Andre on the stop. So Reed to the rescue once again for Birmingham. The amazing rookie has pulled this act several times this year, bailing the Americans out of trouble in the second half and often in the closing minutes of a ball game. The back shift into the eye. They were split. Reed plays fake. He'll throw. Sets up deep. Has time. Dances away from Carl Lorch. He gets away from East. Still wants to throw. Fires. Incomplete. Intended for Holman at the 47. And tackling Reed must be like trying to tackle a racehorse, because Lorch bounced off of him, and then East missed a shot at him. Reed has hit on 2 out of 3 passes so far for 47 yards. It'll be second and 10. A Big, strong kid from Grambling. He's no stranger to University of Hawaii fans. He led Grambling to a romp over the Rainbow Warriors a couple of years ago in Honolulu Stadium. Quite a young quarterback. What a future he's got. Reed goes back to work. The back set in the eye behind him. Robinson goes in motion. Reed gives to Joe Profit straight up the middle, and he smashes out to the 27-yard line where he runs into Lem Burnham. A gain of about 5 yards. It'll be 3rd down 5 for Birmingham. 12:07 left in the game as they try to play ball control and keep the football away from the Hawaiians. The Americans lead 15-11. They led 7-3 at halftime. Hester comes out. Young goes in. Alfred Jenkins goes wide left. Dennis Holman to the right. Profit in motion. Reed on the give to Robinson. Running room over the left side. 30, 35, 40, and up to the 43-yard line. He has the first down where he's wrestled down by Gary Backus and Jim Snidecki. Let's pause now for station identification. This is the Coconut Wireless Sports Network.
KGMB Sports. Joe Moore reminding you the University of Hawaii tackled Rutgers Saturday night at 7:05 on KGMB Honolulu.
Birmingham is eating up a lot of time on this drive. As they had the ball inside their 10, they've now driven out to their 45-yard line, 1st and 10. Reed on the pitch to Profit, sweeping the left side. One tackler misses a shot at him. He gets by another down the sideline across midfield. He's still on his feet, and he's ridden out of bounds. See where they spotted. Inside the Hawaiians 40. Joe Profit having quite a night. Chuck Detweiler pushed him out. Pick up of 15 yards. Profit now has 17 carries for 138 yards tonight. 10:34 left. Birmingham on top, 15-11. And they're on the move once again at the Hawaiians' 39-yard line. The Americans move up to the line of scrimmage, and now the officials are calling time. See what the problem is. As they stop the Americans from running a play. And now the officials are going to have a conference. They're talking things over. And now a timeout on the field with the score. Birmingham 15 and the Hawaiians 11.
The hottest deal in town.
Here's the hottest deal going for the holidays. A fireplace from Fireplace Hawaii. Hundreds of different designs. Masonry, freestanding, contemporary, or old-fashioned. Complete with a mantelpiece. Fireplace Hawaii can custom design and build a complete fireplace for you, and they have fireplace accessories. See their complete showroom and complete selection of catalogs to browse through. Fireplace Hawaii in Kailua across from the Polly Lanes Bowling Alley.
The hottest deal in town.
137 Hikili Street.
Wholesale Kelly Blue Book prices. That's right. At Datsun of Hawaii, we're pricing a large number of our used cars at Wholesale Kelly Blue Book prices. It's the Blue Tag clearance sales. Come in to any Datsun of Hawaii location and take your pick. All the cars that have the giant blue tag are priced at the current Wholesale Kelly Blue Book price. It's for a limited time only, so don't delay. Our used car locations are at 650 Kapiolani Boulevard in Kailua, Waipahu, and Wahiawa, at the airport or in Lihue.
Proctor back at Birmingham's Legion Field with the Americans leading the Hawaiians 15-11. 10:19 left in the game, and the Americans have a 1st and 10 at the Hawaiians' 39-yard line. Matthew Reed taking over at quarterback from George Myra. He sends Profit in motion to give up the middle of Paul Robinson, who does a little dance and goes down at the 35. Making the stop on him, Carl Lorch and Levi Stanley. Pick up of 3, it'll be 2nd and 7. The last time these clubs met here in Birmingham, the Americans established 7 individual or team records. They beat the Hawaiians with a big play that night. 81-yard punt return by Smith, a 78-yard run from scrimmage by Jimmy Edwards, and a 95-yard pass from Myra to Alfred Jenkins. But right now, Reed is at the controls, puts the ball in the air, and drills one out of bounds, incomplete, intended for Alfred Jenkins. And Reed can really throw that ball. That's one problem that Matthew has had. He throws the ball so hard that sometimes his receivers can't catch it. That time, Jenkins was only about 15 yards downfield. Reed put everything he had into the throw. 3rd and 7 for the Americans. At the Hawaiians 36, 9:59 left. Jenkins and Holman both split to the left side. Robinson and Prophet split behind Reed. Reed back to throw, rolls left, gets a block from Prophet, fires, caught by Holman at the 20, looking for blocking, and he's pushed out of bounds. Inside the 20 at the 17, a Birmingham first down. Willie Williams running him out. And Reed is picking the Hawaiians defense apart. Hester comes in at linebacker, replacing Adrian Young. They figure Hester is better against the run than Adrian. He's got bad ankles. Hester has more mobility, and they also figure that Young is a better player when the team is using a zone defense in a passing situation. They're guessing or anticipating that Birmingham will stay on the ground right here with a 1st and 10 at the Hawaiians 18. In motion comes Robinson to the near side. Reed gives the Prophet off left tackle. Sheds a couple of tackles, fights his way inside the 15 to the 13. Gary Backus again on the stop for the Hawaiians. The Americans started this drive back inside their 10. The big play was a 3rd down pass of 20 yards by Reed that got them out of trouble and kept the drive alive. They now have a 2nd down and 5 situation at the Hawaiians 13. Bob Brown is in at tight end. Robinson, slot back on the left side. Prophet was supposed to take the handoff. He fell down. Reed keeps, and he's buried. Prophet lost his footing as he came out of the starting blocks. He's had problems tonight standing up, but when he has been able to stand up, which has been most of the time, he has torn the Hawaiians apart as he's rushed for over 100 yards. Reed manages to get up to the 10 and gains a couple of yards. It'll be 3rd and 2. Brown leaves, and coming in for him is Jim Bishop at tight end. Holman splits right. Jenkins left. 3rd and 2. Reed pitches to Prophet, getting a block from Wolf. Crosses the 10, and he's chased out at the 7-yard line. He looks to have the first down. He does. So it'll be 1st and goal to go for Birmingham at the Hawaiian 7. The Americans leading 15-11 with 8:26 left in the ball game. And if the Americans get a touchdown here, it's going to be very, very tough for the Hawaiians, because they will be down by 11 points, or 12 points if the Americans tack on an action point. So this could be the crucial series in this ball game. 1st and goal for the Americans at the Hawaiian 7. East, Burnham, Lorch, and Stanley dig in. Reed will throw. Back to fire. Throws incomplete, intended for Holman. And Reed got the big rush that time up front from Lem Burnham and Carl Lorch. And he had to hurry his pass. Again, I repeat that the Birmingham offensive line has done a good job of protecting Myra and Reed tonight. But one thing that adds to that is the fact that both quarterbacks are very mobile, and they will often roll to either side, which makes things more difficult for that front four. They have to do a little chasing back there. 2nd and goal for the Americans at the Hawaiian 7. Reed drops straight back, now rolls to his right, fires on the run. Caught, juggled. The ball is caught, but out of bounds by the tight end, Bob Brown. He was juggling the ball in the end zone, finally corralled it, but by that time he was out of the end zone. So it's an incompletion. Matthew Reed tonight has completed 3 of 6 passes for 64 yards. He really drilled that one. 3rd goal to go for the Americans at the Hawaiian 7-yard line. Jenkins and Holman split to the left side. Bishop is in a tight end. Reed rolling left, setting up. He's in trouble. He's going to be sacked. Back at the 20, a flag is thrown. It may be a face mask call. Phil Andre and Willie Williams in there on Reed, but it looked like somebody had a face mask, and that's the call. I'm not sure who was called for the violation. Whoever it was had Reed by the jersey and then kind of crawled up his body and grabbed him by the face mask and pulled him down. So what would have been a big loss is going to turn out to be a bad break for the Hawaiians, as they are penalized half the distance to the goal line. If Reed had been sacked legally, he would have been dropped back at the 20. Instead, as a result of the penalty, it's first and goal to go for the Americans. The ball at the 3-yard line. Personal foul carrying an automatic first down. 8:11 left in the game. A costly break for the Hawaiians. Robinson and Profit of the running back. The give is to Profit. Stop, and then bounces across the 5, down to about the 3, back to the line of scrimmage. Hester in on the stop defensively. Birmingham has eaten up about 6 minutes on this drive. Started back inside their 10. And time will shortly become a factor. 7:45 left. The Americans lead 15-11. Birmingham does not lead the league in any categories, offensively or defensively, as far as a team, but they're right in the middle of the pack in almost all categories, which means they're a very steady team. They do everything pretty well and nothing exceptionally well. Reed will keep rolling to his right. Touchdown. Matthew Reed takes it in. And it's 22-11 in favor of Birmingham. So Reed to the rescue once again as he replaced George Myra in the second half. He has the team and the crowd fired up. And things look very bleak for the Hawaiians right now. The Americans lead 22-11. They'll go for the action point from the 2.5-yard line. This crowd has really come to life. Reed calmly walks up to the line of scrimmage. Backs are split behind him. Matthew takes the snap. He's going to run for the action point, but he's ridden down by Phil Andre. So the action point fails. The timeout on the field with the score, Birmingham 22, the Hawaiians 11.
Just wait till you try our Primo, why you won't believe the taste. It's a taste that'll make Hawaii proud. In the old tradition of great beer making, we take our place, and it's time for us to really shout out loud. Primo's coming on, Primo's here. Brother, you aren't tasting it till you're tasting Primo beer. Got a brand new brew house, a lot of changes made, and a flavor that'll put us right on top. With pure Hawaiian water, we'll make it taste just right. We're on our way and we aren't gonna stop. Taste what's happening, Primo beer. Brother, you aren't tasting it till you're tasting Primo beer.
Earl Stark ready to kick off. Ernie O'Leary and Brady Richardson going through some limbering up exercises, standing back at the Hawaiians 15. Birmingham leads 22-11, and so confident are some of the American fans that they're already heading for the exits. The 7:26 left. And the Hawaiians are really up against it right now. Stark tees up the ball at the 30, moves up to the football. A high, short kick. It'll be taken by Richardson and fumbled at the 20. He picks it up, running laterally at the 22. Turns upfield at 25, 30, 35, 40. Could go all the way across midfield, and he's tripped up at the Birmingham 44. Grady Richardson nearly brought the Hawaiians back in a hurry. As he was tripped up by one of the last two men to have a shot at him. A 37-yard return, but a short kick by Stark set it up. So the Hawaiians have the ball first and 10 at the Americans 43. Jim Bishop on the stop defensively. And Randy Johnson will have to get hot in a hurry with 7:10 left, and the Hawaiians down by 11 points. He has everybody out wide. Johnson backpedals into the pocket, sets up, fires for Delaney, caught in the crowd at the 25. First down, Hawaiians. Miraculous catch by Delaney as he had double coverage that time. Gerard Williams brought him down. Delaney is such a perfectionist that in practice, most of the time, most players will get upset if they drop a football. Delaney gets upset if he doesn't catch it cleanly, if the ball makes any noise, or if he doesn't feel that he's caught it like he should. He gets upset. First and 10 for the Hawaiians to 25. Johnson will go to the air, dumps it off over the middle, and it's dropped by Vinnie Clements. The pass thrown a little bit behind Clements, so it'll go as an incompletion. And that stops the clock with 6:34 left. And some of the fans who were heading for the exits stopped momentarily. Some of them have come back, and others are heading out into the night. Richardson splits right, Delaney left. Second and 10 for the Hawaiians. They trail by 11 points. Johnson sets up short, looks, fires. It's caught by Clements, and he's wrestled down at the 12-yard line, close to a first down, but he's about a yard or two short. And the Hawaiians quickly trying to get organized. The ball at the 16 of Birmingham. It'll be about 1 yard short of a first down. 6:14 left. Hawaiians have all 3 timeouts remaining. Eisenbarger splits left. Delaney to the right. 3rd and 1. Long count by Johnson. The give to Al Davis. He has the first down, and he's brought down at the 11-yard line. So the Hawaiians are putting together a drive in a hurry. Steve Manstead, the tackler for Birmingham. The play is being brought in from the bench via the shuttle service, the wide receivers. That system was started by Paul Brown with the Cleveland Browns as he alternated his guards. Now most teams, or a lot of teams, do the same thing. First and 10 for the Hawaiians at the Birmingham 11-yard line. Richardson goes in motion. Johnson takes the snap, drops straight back, sets up, has time. Now he's in trouble, and he's sacked at the 17-yard line. Larry Estes getting to him. Johnson looked like he had time, then his pocket collapsed around him, and he's furious as he gets to his feet, yelling at his offensive lineman, yelling at someone, as protection broke down. The second time Johnson has been sacked tonight. And he'd been sacked only 7 times coming into this game. It'll be second down and 16 for the Hawaiians, as they are trying to get back in the game, down by 11 points. Johnson with a play fake, back to throw, fires wide open. Clements at the 10, 5, touchdown. Vinnie Clements swinging out of the backfield, out in the left flat, and Johnson floated one out to him, and Clements did the rest. He had clear sailing. So it's 22-18 right now, and a very, very important action point coming up. An action point would put the Hawaiians within 3. And looking ahead, a field goal then would tie it. But if they miss the action point, they'll be... He's starting the second half at quarterback. Matthew Reed is warming up on the sideline. Paul Robinson drops into a slot on the left side. Prophet the lone setback. Myra takes the snap, turns, gives the Prophet, and he falls in the seat of his pants. Prophet slipped and fell at the 36-yard line. Willie Williams covering in there. They watered down the artificial surface prior to the ball game, so it may be a little bit wet. No gain on the play. It's second down and 10. Hawaiians leading 11-7. With about 8 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Myra on the give. The handoff is to Joe Prophet, and he's brought down, getting about 2 yards. Phil Andre on the stop. So the momentum has really changed. The Americans ended the first half at the Hawaiians' 4-yard line. Perhaps that bit of frustration took something out of Birmingham. They're slow to get started here in the second half. Myra takes the snap, rolling to his right. He wants to throw, fires on the run, and it is complete up near midfield to Dennis Holman on a comeback pattern. And he gives the Americans the first down. So the ball just inside the 50 on the Hawaiian side. Phil Andre making the stop defensively. 11-7, the Hawaiians leading. Birmingham Birmingham drew first blood as Charlie Haraway went over from 2 yards out. The Hawaiians came back with a 30-yard field goal by R.A. Coppage and then scored a touchdown here in the second half. First and 10 for the Americans at midfield. Robinson goes in motion to the far side. Myra rolls to his right, gives the Prophet over the right side, up to the 40, 35, breaking tackles, gets down to the 32-yard line. Gary Backus brings him down. A fine run by Joe Prophet. He's had a big night this evening. 19-yard pickup for Prophet. He had 77 yards rushing in the first half. Great things have been expected of Prophet since he came out of college. Back in 1971, he was the #1 draft pick of the Atlanta Falcons. But he's had injury problems. First and 10 for the Americans at the Hawaiians 31. Myra gives to Prophet up the middle, juking and faking, and he gets down to the 27-yard line, where Ron East brings him down. So in the last game, it was Jimmy Edwards who hurt the Hawaiians. Last game here at Legion Field between these clubs, and tonight it's been Joe Prophet. Substitution at tight end, Ted Powell checks in, replacing Bob Brown. Second down 5 for the Americans. At the Hawaiians 26. Holman splits to the right side. Alfred Jenkins to the left. The backs in the eye, Prophet and Robinson. Robinson goes in motion to the far side. Myra gives the Prophet off right tackle. Adrian Young wraps him up. Phil Andre puts in his 2 cents worth. Prophet spins around, drops the football, and winds up as if to punch Andre. But the official steps in. Prophet thought he was hit a little bit late by Phil Andre. Tempers are bound to run a little bit high in a ball game like this. There's a lot at stake. Joe Prophet carried the ball 11 times so far tonight, good for 107 yards. 45 seconds. 7:45 remaining here in the third quarter. The time being announced to the crowd by the public address announcer as the scoreboard clock is not functioning. Prophet, the lone setback. He gets the call up the middle. Shoots through a little hole and picks up a first down inside the 20 to the 19. So the Americans continue to move. Making the stop defensively was Levi Stanley, along with Carl Lorch. Hawaiians leading 11-7, and things have really opened up here in the second half. Hawaiians scoring. Randy Johnson on a quarterback sneak. First and 10, Birmingham. At the Hawaiians 19. Holman right, Jenkins left. Robinson and Prophet are split. The inside handoff to Robinson. He breaks one tackle and fights his way down to the 15, where Levi Stanley brings him down. The Americans have had great success running the ball tonight. Give a lot of credit to that offensive line. Paul Costa and Bob Wolf, the tackles. Jim Krigel and Buddy Brown, the guards. John Matlock, the center. The ball just a shade inside the 15-yard line. The Hawaiians 15. Hawaiians leading 11-7. It'll be second down and a long 6 for the Americans as Myra steps up under center. Holman splits out to the right. The movement on the front line by the Hawaiians. The give is to Prophet. No flags are down, and Prophet is dropped for no gain. Hit by the right side of that defensive line, Lorch and Stanley, along with Terry Backus. I have no idea what the fans are reacting to. Scoreboard evidently came on momentarily. The fans started cheering, and then the scoreboard went off again. The clock conked out at halftime and hasn't worked since. Third down 6 for the Americans at the Hawaiians 15. Birmingham trailing 11-7. The back shift out of the eye. Holman comes in motion. Myra with a play fake, backpedaling, looking right, unloads the bomb. He's got a man out there. Caught. Touchdown. Making the catch was Alfred Jenkins as he got behind Phil Andre. But a flag on the play, and they're going to call this one back. Well, that was Brown rather than Jenkins on the reception. Bob Brown, the tight end, but they're going to bring the ball back, so it really doesn't matter. Penalty coming up against Birmingham. Holding That'll cost them 10 yards to the 25. So the Americans almost went back out in front. But an apparent touchdown pass is wiped out by a holding penalty. 5:02 remaining in the third quarter. Been announced to the crowd. Third down 15 for the Americans. Myra fakes a draw. Drops back, being chased. He's in trouble. He's going to be sacked for a huge loss. He fumbled the ball. And the Hawaiians have it. But the official is blowing the play dead, and I don't believe it. Now a fight breaks out. Carl Lorch decks George Myra. What a strange set of happenings here. It looks like, well, they sacked Myra back at the Hawaiians 45. A loss of over 20 yards. Myra fumbled the ball. It looked like the Hawaiians had recovered before the play had been blown dead, but evidently not. Then Myra and Lorch got into an argument. Lorch wound up and decked Myra. Birmingham still has the ball, but they'll have to punt. Sark will kick from his own 40. Mosley and Willie Williams back deep for the Hawaiians. A high snap. Sark reaches up. He's going to run. Now he kicks on the run. A short kick. Mosley lets it bounce, dances out of the way. The ball gets a Birmingham roll and goes out of bounds at the 11. Oh, man, we've seen everything. Sark, the punter, saw that he was getting no rush, started to run. Then he got a little bit of pressure and kicked the ball on the run. And the Hawaiians will have it. 35-yard punt. 4 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in the third quarter. The Hawaiians leading 11-7 in a wild, wild ball game. I don't know what Myra said to Carl Lorch a moment ago, but I don't think George will say it again. I'll tell you, that was a quick whistle. Now, finally, the scoreboard clock is on, but they're going to have to adjust the numbers. And now it's off again. The official coming over to the Hawaiians bench. I think they're taking a timeout here to get the clock squared away. So we'll stay right here as we're not sure just when action is going to resume. 11-7. The Hawaiians out in front of the Birmingham Americans in this World Football League semifinal playoff game. Good crowd on hand tonight, somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 to 30,000. Birmingham has averaged better than 37,000 playing here at Legion Field. Now we're ready to go. The Hawaiians will have the ball. First and 10 from their own 11-yard line. And they are booed soundly by the American fans. Johnson at the controls. Randy takes the snap, gives to Ernie O'Leary, who runs into a blocker, Jeff Seavey, and falls down. Ernie managed to pick up 2 or 3 yards. Seavey looked like he was going the wrong way. Either that or Ernie O'Leary was going the wrong way, but they collided. Ernie still managed to pick up 2 yards. Warren Capone, the middle linebacker, on the stop. And it is getting cold here in Birmingham. Tip of my nose is a little bit on the red side. Second down 8 for the Hawaiians. Cadillo over the ball at center. Clayton Heath in the backfield. Johnson will throw. Gets big pressure. Looks long. Fires for Eisenberger. A battle for it. Almost picked off. Willie Smith can't hang on at midfield. As the pass was underthrown, Smith had it and then dropped it. It was intended for Eisenberger. Vinnie Clements checks into the Hawaiians backfield, replacing Clayton Heath, who was in there on that one play. Oh, roughly about 2.5 minutes remaining in the third quarter. American fans chanting defense, defense. O'Leary the lone setback. Everybody else is out wide. Johnson gives to O'Leary, and again he runs into Jeff Seavey, his blocker, and this time he's dropped for a loss. Looks like some kind of mix-up. Somebody is fouling up somewhere as O'Leary and Seavey collided for the second time. Larry Estes making the stop. It'll be 4th down, 4th and 11, a loss of a yard, and Gary Backus will have to punt. The line of scrimmage is the Hawaiians' 12-yard line. I believe they have announced 3:15 remaining in the third quarter. Backus will be kicking from his own end zone. Jenkins and Smith are deep for Birmingham. Backus awaiting the snap from Levi Stanley. A good snap. Here comes a big rush, and he barely gets it away. A wobbly spiral taken by Smith on the dead run at the 40. Backtracking, he's in trouble, and he's wrestled out of bounds in front of the Americans' bench. Good coverage that time by the Hawaiians, but the punt was almost blocked. And now the boys start to have a little discussion on the far side in front of the Birmingham bench. They have an American player, Smith, very slow to get up. A 32-yard kick by Backus. And now a timeout on the field with the score, the Hawaiians 11 and the Americans 7.
Just wait till you try out Primo, why you won't believe the taste. It's a taste that'll make Hawaii proud. In the old tradition of great beer making, we take our place, and it's time for us to really shout out loud. Primo's coming on, Primo's here. Brother, you are tasting it till you're tasting Primo beer. Taste what's happening, Primo beer. Brother, you are tasting it till you're tasting Primo beer. Got a brand new brew house, a lot of changes made, and a flavor that'll put us right on top. With pure Hawaiian water, we'll make it taste just right. We're on our way and we aren't gonna stop. Primo's coming on, Primo's here. Brother, you are tasting it till you're tasting Primo beer. Taste what's happening, Primo beer. Brother, you are tasting it till you're tasting Primo beer.
Matthew Reed has replaced George Myra at quarterback, so the fans get their wish. The big, strong rookie from Grambling is in there. They give up the middle is to Joe Profit. He lunges forward for about 5 yards to the 35 of the Hawaiians, where he runs into Levi Stanley. So Matthew Reed, a rookie from Grambling, 6'4", 225 pounds, is in the ball game. He's thrown for 11 touchdowns this year. He's also been intercepted 12 times. But he has a rifle arm. They say he can throw the football 90 yards in the air. The scoreboard clock is back on. But they have yet to adjust the numbers. Reed on the give to Profit off left tackle, wrapped up by Backus as he gets to the 32-yard line. Backus, one of the fine rookies in the World Football League this year, out of Oklahoma. 70% of the gate receipts from tonight's ball game will be divided up between the two teams after expenses. The winner will get 60%, the loser 40%, and the other 30% will go to pay off part of a huge debt owed by Birmingham to the Internal Revenue Service. Third down 2 for the Americans. Reed will throw, rolling to his right, sets up, fires long, wide open is Jenkins, touchdown. Alfred Jenkins was wide open. He spikes the football in the left corner of the end zone. As Reed rolled to his right, stopped, fired back against the grain, and Jenkins was wide open at about the 3-yard line. Chuck Detweiler, the defender, slammed his fist into the wire fence surrounding the field in disgust. Detweiler's playing with a badly pulled groin muscle, and it's a tough chore to keep up with a guy like Jenkins even when you're healthy. So it's 14-11. The Americans out in front as this game has seesawed back and forth. Birmingham will go for the action point from the 2.5-yard line. Holman and Ted Powell split to the right side. Profit and Robinson, the running backs. Reed will throw. Rolling to his right, looking, fired, and it's complete to Powell. So the action point is good. A timeout on the field with a score. Birmingham 15, the Hawaiians 11.
It's all out there. Half the world is out there waiting for you on Northwest Orient. Now's the time. Half the world is out there waiting for you on Northwest Orient. Just relax, stretch your legs and sail back. Northwest comfort all the way. Jumbo jets, streaking across the open sky. Northwest takes you all the way. We give you half the world on Northwest Orient Airlines.
Going to talk
kill, Northwest Orient offers 2 non-stop stations, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 6:10 in the evening, both roomy 747s. Only Northwest gives you a big wide cabin jet on every flight from Hawaii to the Orient or to the mainland.
KGM Super B. Stark's kickoff is taken by Grady Richardson, and he brings it back across the 30, the 35, up to the 40, where he's hit and dropped by Gary Champagne. A 20-yard return, and the Hawaiians will go to work, trailing 15-11 with 1:25 left in the third quarter. And once again, the scoreboard clock is out of order. Delaney splits right. Eisenbarger also moves out to the right side. John goes in motion. Long count by Johnson. Play fake. Back to throw. Sets up. Fires. Caught by Delaney. Now it's incomplete. It looked like he had it and then dropped it. Steve Manstead defending. Delaney running a slant over the middle. Eisenbarger will leave. Richardson replaces him. Johnson now has completed 6 of 15 passes for 116 yards for the Hawaiians, and he has warmed up considerably in the second half. Richardson right, Delaney left. Clemens in the slot on the right side. Kelsey split out about 5 yards, also on the right. Richardson goes in motion. Johnson gives to Ernie O'Leary, sweeping the right side. Hits a block, lunges forward, gets about 4 yards to the 44-yard line of the Hawaiians, where Bob Teterick brings him down. Defensively, John Baker and Larry Estes the ends. Bob Teterick and Jesse Wolf for the tackles. Ross Brubaker, Warren Capone, and Steve Manstead the linebackers. Willie Smith and Gerard Williams at the corners. Randy Lee is the strong safety, and Larry Willingham the weak safety. 3rd and 7. Scoreboard clock blinks back on again. Johnson waiting for the football. Bobbles the snap, gets it, drops back to throw, fires over the middle, and it's complete to Tim Delaney, but he doesn't get much. Gets about 3 yards before he's wrapped up by Gerard Williams. So it'll be 4th down. The Hawaiians will have to kick the ball away. Birmingham defense is really fired up, but it's amazing how the momentum has shifted back and forth in this ball game. The big play seems to inspire each team. The Lions came out winging in the second half and went out in front. Birmingham now leads 15-11. And here's the gun sounding the end of the third quarter with the score: Birmingham 15 and the Hawaiians 11.
Once and only once at these prices, and only at ARA George Corporation. AM car radios installed with antenna and speakers, all for only $27 complete. AM FM only $77.03. Remember, installation, antenna, and speakers included in the price. AM FM stereo with an 8-track stereo player at only $129.42. Use your charge card, but do it now. ARA George Corporation, 648 KM Oakland Street, a block Malka of Ala Moana Center.
Looking for Yakiniku House Osaka? They are no longer in their own location on Kapiolani. The new Yakiniku House Osaka is located at 1020 Ke'Imoku, serving the same great traditional Japanese dishes. Sizzling beef, delicate seafood, mouth-watering chicken, pork, and liver. Try any one or a combination of delightful Japanese dishes. Relax in the lounge with your favorite cocktail, traditional Japanese dining, lunch, or dinner. And plenty of parking at Yakiniku House Osaka on the corner of Young and Ke'Imoku. For reservations, 524-1141.
Start the fourth quarter with Birmingham leading the Hawaiians 15-11. Backus in punt formation, standing at his 32. Jenkins and Willie Smith back deep for Birmingham, standing at the 16. Backus takes the snap, very little pressure, and he hangs up a wobbly spiral. Smith lets it roll and takes the Hawaiian roll inside the 10, and it will die at the 6-yard line. That's where the Hawaiians will go on defense as they have Birmingham backed up against their own end zone. A 44-yard kick by Backus. He's really kicked under heavy pressure tonight. 14:45 remaining in the ball game. And this fourth quarter should be a dandy. Been a good ball game to watch so far. Not textbook football by any means. A lot of mistakes, a lot of turnovers, but a lot of wild plays. Real crowd pleaser. Matthew Reed is in the game, having replaced George Myra. 1st and 10 Birmingham at their 6-yard line. Holman goes in motion. Long count by Reed. Quarterback sneaks straight ahead. The flags go flying. And Reed gets about 5 yards. Looked like a broken play. but a flag on the play. Reed is a fine rusher. He's carried the ball 40 times for 174 yards this year, good for a 4.4 average, and he's rushed for 3 touchdowns. I've been informed that the scoreboard is now correct. And that brings a sarcastic round of applause from the fans. Illegal procedure against Birmingham, so they are penalized half the distance to the goal line. They'll have the ball at their own 3. It'll be 1st and 13. And with an arm like Reed's, the Americans can dig themselves out of a hole in a hurry. Reed waiting for the snap. He gives to Joe Profit. Sweeping the left side. He's in trouble. Backus has him and wrestles him down at the 5. Willie Williams also helps out. Gary Backus playing a fine game tonight. The rookie and the veteran combine on the tackle. Gain of about 2. It'll be 2nd and 11. The ball at the Birmingham 5-yard line. The Hawaiians sacked Southern California's quarterback 6 times last week, but they have been held in check tonight by the Birmingham offensive line. They've done a good job of giving Myra and Reed protection. Jenkins splits left. Holman to the right. Reed on the draw. The give is to Paul Robinson. He slashes out across the 5 to the 7-yard line, where Backus is again on a stop. And it will now be 3rd down and 7. Adrian Young checks in for the Hawaiians at linebacker, replacing Ray Hester. Adrian Young has a full head of hair and a full beard. And for that reason, the Chicago Bears cut him loose. Abe Gibron, the coach of the Bears, likes the crew cut. 3rd and 7 for the Americans from their 7-yard line. Reed will throw. Sets up, looks in trouble, dances out of trouble, fires complete. And he has the 1st down. The pass was to Dennis Holman. Make it Alfred Jenkins rather than Holman. And so Reed digs the Americans out of trouble on a big down. Birmingham leads 15-11 with 12:56 left in the game. They now have a 1st down at their 23-yard line. Detweiler and Andre on the stop. So Reed to the rescue once again for Birmingham. The amazing rookie has pulled this act several times this year, bailing the Americans out of trouble in the second half and often in the closing minutes of a ball game. The backs shift into the eye. They were split. Reed, play fake. He'll throw. Sets up deep. Has time. Dances away from Carl Lortz. He gets away from East. Still wants to throw. Fires. Incomplete. Intended for Holman at the 47. And tackling Reed must be like trying to tackle a racehorse, because Lortz bounced off of him, and then East missed a shot at him. Reed has hit on 2 out of 3 passes so far for 47 yards. It'll be 2nd and 10. A big, strong kid from Grambling. He's no stranger to University of Hawaii fans. He led Grambling to a romp over the Rainbow Warriors a couple of years ago in Honolulu Stadium. Quite a young quarterback. What a future he's got. Reed goes back to work. The back set in the eye behind him. Robinson goes in motion. Reed gives to Joe Profit straight up the middle, and he smashes out to the 27-yard line where he runs into Lem Burnham. A gain of about 5 yards. It'll be 3rd down 5 for Birmingham. 12:07 left in the game as they try to play ball control and keep the football away from the Hawaiians. The Americans lead 15-11. They led 7-3 at halftime. Hester comes out. Young goes in. Alfred Jenkins goes wide left. Dennis Holman to the right. Profit in motion. Reed on the give to Robinson. Running room over the left side. 30, 35, 40, and up to the 43-yard line. He has the 1st down where he's wrestled down by Gary Backus and Jim Snidecki. Let's pause now for station identification. This is the Coconut Wireless Sports Network.
KGMB Sports. Joe Moore reminding you the University of Hawaii tackles Rutgers Saturday night at 7:05 on KGMB Honolulu.
Birmingham is eating up a lot of time on this drive. As they had the ball inside their 10, they've now driven out to their 45-yard line, 1st and 10. Reed on the pitch to Profit, sweeping the left side. One tackler misses a shot at him. He gets by another down the sideline across midfield. He's still on his feet, and he's ridden out of bounds. See where they spotted. Inside the Hawaiians 40. Joe Profit having quite a night. Chuck Detweiler pushed him out. Pick up of 15 yards. Profit now has 17 carries for 138 yards tonight. 10:34 left. Birmingham on top, 15-11. And they're on the move once again at the Hawaiians' 39-yard line. The Americans move up to the line of scrimmage, and now the officials are calling time. See what the problem is as they stop the Americans from running a play. And now the officials are going to have a conference. They're talking things over. And now a timeout on the field with the score. Birmingham 15 and the Hawaiians 11.
The hottest deal in town.
Here's the hottest deal going for the holidays. A fireplace from Fireplace Hawaii. Hundreds of different designs. Masonry, freestanding, contemporary, or old-fashioned. Complete with a mantelpiece. Fireplace Hawaii can custom design and build a complete fireplace for you, and they have fireplace accessories. See their complete showroom and complete selection of catalogs to browse through. Fireplace Hawaii in Kailua across from the Polly Lanes Bowling Alley.
The hottest deal in town.
137 Hikili Street.
Wholesale Kelly Blue Book prices. That's right. At Datsun of Hawaii, we're pricing a large number of our used cars at Wholesale Kelly Blue Book prices. It's the Blue Tag clearance sale. Come in to any Datsun of Hawaii location and take your pick. All the cars that have the giant Blue Tag are priced at the current Wholesale Kelly Blue Book price. It's for a limited time only, so don't delay. Our used car locations are at 650 Kapiolani Boulevard in Kailua, Waipahu, and Wahiawa, at the airport or in Lihue.
Proctor back at Birmingham's Legion Field with the Americans leading the Hawaiians 15-11. 10:19 left in the game, and the Americans have a 1st and 10 at the Hawaiians' 39-yard line. Matthew Reed taking over at quarterback from George Myra. He sends Profit in motion to give up the middle of Paul Robinson, who does a little dance and goes down at the 35. Making the stop on him, Carl Lorch and Levi Stanley. Pick up of 3, it'll be 2nd and 7. The last time these clubs met here in Birmingham, the Americans established 7 individual or team records. They beat the Hawaiians with a big play that night. 81-yard punt return by Smith, a 78-yard run from scrimmage by Jimmy Edwards, and a 95-yard pass from Myra to Alfred Jenkins. Right now, Reed is at the controls, puts the ball in the air, and drills one out of bounds, incomplete, intended for Alfred Jenkins. And Reed can really throw that ball. That's one problem that Matthew has had. He throws the ball so hard that sometimes his receivers can't catch it. That time, Jenkins was only about 15 yards downfield. Reed put everything he had into the throw. 3rd and 7 for the Americans. At the Hawaiians 36, 9:59 left. Jenkins and Holman both split to the left side. Robinson and Profit split behind Reed. Reed back to throw, rolls left, gets a block from Profit, fires, caught by Holman at the 20, looking for blocking, and he's pushed out of bounds. Inside the 20 at the 17, a Birmingham 1st down. Willie Williams running him out, and Reed is picking the Hawaiians defense apart. Hester comes in at linebacker, replacing Adrian Young. They figure Hester is better against the run than Adrian. He's got bad ankles. Hester has more mobility, and they also figure that Young is a better player when the team is using a zone defense in a passing situation. They're guessing or anticipating that Birmingham will stay on the ground right here with a 1st and 10 at the Hawaiians 18. In motion comes Robinson to the near side. Reed gives to Profit off left tackle. Sheds a couple of tackles, fights his way inside the 15 to the 13. Gary Backus again on the stop for the Hawaiians. The Americans started this drive back inside their 10. The big play was a 3rd down pass of 20 yards by Reed that got them out of trouble and kept the drive alive. They now have a 2nd down and 5 situation at the Hawaiians 13. Bob Brown is in at tight end. Robinson, slot back on the left side. Profit was supposed to take the handoff. He fell down. Reed keeps, and he's buried. Profit lost his footing as he came out of the starting blocks. He's had problems tonight standing up, but when he has been able to stand up, which has been most of the time, he has torn the Hawaiians apart as he's rushed for over 100 yards. Reed manages to get up to the 10 and gains a couple of yards. It'll be 3rd and 2. Brown leaves, and coming in for him is Jim Bishop at tight end. Holman splits right. Jenkins left. 3rd and 2. Reed pitches to Profit, getting a block from Wolf. Crosses the 10, and he's chased out at the 7-yard line. He looks to have the first down. He does. So it'll be 1st and goal to go for Birmingham at the Hawaiian 7. The Americans leading 15-11 with 8:26 left in the ball game. And if the Americans get a touchdown here, it's going to be very, very tough for the Hawaiians, because they will be down by 11 points, or 12 points if the Americans tack on an action point. So this could be the crucial series in this ball game. 1st and goal for the Americans at the Hawaiian 7. East, Burnham, Lorch, and Stanley dig in. Reed will throw. Back to fire. Throws incomplete, intended for Holman. And Reed got the big rush that time up front from Lem Burnham and Carl Lorch. And he had to hurry his pass. Again, I repeat that the Birmingham offensive line has done a good job of protecting Myra and Reed tonight. But one thing that adds to that is the fact that both quarterbacks are very mobile, and they will often roll to either side, which makes things more difficult for that front four. They have to do a little chasing back there. 2nd and goal for the Americans at the Hawaiian 7. Reed drops straight back, now rolls to his right, fires on the run. Caught, juggles. The ball is caught, but out of bounds by the tight end, Bob Brown. He was juggling the ball in the end zone, finally corralled it, but by that time he was out of the end zone. So it's an incompletion. Matthew Reed tonight has completed 3 of 6 passes for 64 yards. He really drilled that one. 3rd goal to go for the Americans at the Hawaiian 7-yard line. Jenkins and Holman split to the left side. Bishop is in a tight end. Reed rolling left, setting up. He's in trouble. He's going to be sacked. Back at the 20, a flag is thrown. It may be a face mask call. Phil Andre and Willie Williams in there on Reed, but it looked like somebody had a face mask, and that's the call. I'm not sure who was called for the violation. Whoever it was had Reed by the jersey and then kind of crawled up his body and grabbed him by the face mask and pulled him down. So what would have been a big loss is going to turn out to be a bad break for the Hawaiians, as they are penalized half the distance to the goal line. If Reed had been sacked legally, he would have been dropped back into 20. Instead, as a result of the penalty, it's 1st and goal to go for the Americans. The ball at the 3-yard line. Personal foul, carrying an automatic first down. 8:11 left in the game. A costly break for the Hawaiians. Robinson and Profit are the running backs. The give is to Profit. Stops and then bounces across the 5, down to about the 3, back to the line of scrimmage. Hester in on the stop defensively. Birmingham has eaten up about 6 minutes on this drive. Started back inside their 10. And time will shortly become a factor. 7:45 left. The Americans lead 15-11. Birmingham does not lead the league in any categories, offensively or defensively, as far as a team, but they're right in the middle of the pack in almost all categories, which means they're a very steady team. They do everything pretty well and nothing exceptionally well. Reed will keep rolling to his right. Touchdown. Matthew Reed takes it in. And it's 22-11 in favor of Birmingham. So Reed to the rescue once again as he replaced George Myra in the second half. He has the team and the crowd fired up. And things look very bleak for the Hawaiians right now. The Americans lead 22-11. They'll go for the action point from the 2.5-yard line. This crowd has really come to life. Reed calmly walks up to the line of scrimmage. Backs are split behind him. Matthew takes the snap. He's going to run for the action point, but he's ridden down by Phil Andre. So the action point fails. The timeout on the field with the score, Birmingham 22, the Hawaiians 11.
Just wait till you try our Primo. Why, you won't believe the taste. It's a taste that'll make Hawaii proud. In the old tradition of great beer making, we take our place, and it's time for us to really shout out loud. Primo's coming on. Primo's here. Brother, you aren't tasting it till you're tasting Primo beer. Got a brand new brew house, a lot of changes made, and a flavor that'll put us right on top. With pure Hawaiian water, we'll make it taste just right. We're on our way and we aren't gonna stop. Taste what's happening, Primo beer. Brother, you aren't tasting it till you're tasting Primo beer.
Earl Stark ready to kick off. Ernie O'Leary and Brady Richardson going through some limbering up exercises, standing back at the Hawaiian 15. Birmingham leads 22-11, and so confident are some of the Americans fans that they're already heading for the exits with 7:26 left. And the Hawaiians are really up against it right now. Stark tees up the ball at the 30, moves up to the football. A high, short kick. It'll be taken by Richardson and fumbled at the 20. He picks it up, running laterally at the 22. Turns upfield at 25, 30, 35, 40. Could go all the way across midfield, and he's tripped up at the Birmingham 44. Grady Richardson nearly brought the Hawaiians back in a hurry, as he was tripped up by one of the last two men to have a shot at him. A 37-yard return, but a short kick by Sark set it up. So the Hawaiians have the ball first and 10 at the Americans 43. Jim Bishop on the stop defensively. And Randy Johnson will have to get hot in a hurry with 7:10 left, and the Hawaiians down by 11 points. He has everybody out wide. Johnson backpedals into the pocket, sets up, fires for Delaney, caught in the crowd at the 25. First down, Hawaiians. Miraculous catch by Delaney, as he had double coverage that time. Gerard Williams brought him down. Delaney is such a perfectionist that in practice, most of the time, most players will get upset if they drop a football. Delaney gets upset if he doesn't catch it cleanly, if the ball makes any noise, or if he doesn't feel that he has caught it like he should. He gets upset. First and 10 for the Hawaiians to 25. Johnson will go to the air, dumps it off over the middle, and is dropped by Vinnie Clements. The pass thrown a little bit behind Clements, so it'll go as an incompletion. And that stops the clock with 6:34 left. And some of the fans who were heading for the exits stopped momentarily. Some of them have come back. And others are heading out into the night. Richardson splits right. Delaney left. Second and 10 for the Hawaiians. They trail by 11 points. Johnson sets up short. Looks. Fires. It's caught by Clements. And he's wrestled down at the 12-yard line. Close to a first down, but he's about a yard or two short. And the Hawaiians quickly trying to get organized. The ball at the 16 of Birmingham. It'll be about 1 yard short of a first down. 6:14 left. Hawaiians have all three timeouts remaining. Eisenbarger splits left. Delaney to the right. 3rd and 1. Long count by Johnson. The give to Al Davis. He has the first down, and he's brought down at the 11-yard line. So the Hawaiians are putting together a drive in a hurry. Steve Manstead, the tackler for Birmingham. The plays being brought in from the bench via the shuttle service, the wide receivers. That system was started by Paul Brown with the Cleveland Browns as he alternated his guards. Now most teams, or a lot of teams, do the same thing. First and 10 for the Hawaiians at the Birmingham 11-yard line. Richardson goes in motion. Johnson takes the snap, drops straight back, sets up, has time. Now he's in trouble, and he's sacked at the 17-yard line. Larry Estes getting to him. Johnson looked like he had time, then his pocket collapsed around him, and he's furious as he gets to his feet, yelling at his offensive lineman, yelling at someone, as protection broke down. The second time Johnson has been sacked tonight. And he'd been sacked only 7 times coming into this game. It'll be second down and 16 for the Hawaiians, as they are trying to get back in the game, down by 11 points. Johnson with a play fake, back to throw, fires wide open, Clements at the 10, 5, touchdown. Vinnie Clements swinging out of the backfield, out in the left flat. And Johnson floated one out to him. And Clements did the rest. He had clear sailing. So it's 22-18 right now. And a very, very important action point coming up. An action point would put the Hawaiians within 3. And looking ahead, a field goal then would tie it. But if they miss the action point, they'll be... Hawaiians within 3. And looking ahead, a field goal then would tie it. But if they miss the action point, they'll be down by 4, and they will need a touchdown to win it. Weiss in at quarterback. Eisenbarger slips out to the right. Clements in the slot right. A lot of pressure on the rookie Norris Weiss. Weiss fakes into the line, rolls left, looking to throw, fires, it's caught! And a flag is thrown in the end zone. Making a great catch was the tight end John Kelsey, and it looked to be pass interference against the Americans as the defender was hanging all over Kelsey, Larry Willingham. So pass interference to call, a timeout on the field with a score, Birmingham 22 and the Hawaiians 19.
Come out to Fisher, Hawaii, next to Gibson, a boona boona ba, a street store.
Getting ripped off on office furniture and supplies, waiting for mainland back orders? Well, my friend, Fisher Hawaii undersells their competitors by 20, 30, 40, sometimes 50%. And they have $750,000 worth of merchandise in stock right now.
Hey, hey, that merchandise is moving and the prices are down. We got the only office product supermarket in town. Fisher Hawaii for your office supplies. Right prices, right products, right now.
Wholesale Kelly Blue Book prices. That's right. At Datsun of Hawaii, we're pricing a large number of our used cars at Wholesale Kelly Blue Book prices. It's the Blue Tag clearance sale. Come in to any Datsun of Hawaii location and take your pick. All the cars that have the giant Blue Tag are priced at the current Wholesale Kelly Blue Book price. It's for a limited time only, so don't delay. Our used car locations are at 650 Kapiolani Boulevard in Kailua, Waipahu, and Wahiawa, at the airport or in Lihue.
Mel Proctor back in Birmingham as R.A. Coppage prepares to kick off, and this game has become a real nail-biter with 4:37 left in the contest. Birmingham clinging to a 3-point lead, 22-19. The Americans have Joe Profit back deep along with Willie Smith. Profit on the far side, Smith about 10 yards in front of him, standing at the 22. Coppage set to kick off. R.A. moves up to the ball, a high, short kick, a towering kick. Profit takes it, fumbles the ball at the 15. He falls down, picks it up. He has it at the 20. He's in trouble, and he's buried at the 25. But Profit nearly lost it for good. As he fumbled the ball, he tried to steal the ball on a dead run. And he didn't anticipate the flight of the ball correctly. Almost overran it, then bobbled it, picked it up, and he was dropped at the 25. Clayton Heath making the stop. Heath was voted the outstanding special teams player by his teammates on the Hawaiians. Rookie from Wake Forest. 4:27 left, Birmingham 22, the Hawaiians 19. And the Americans with the ball. Joe Profit was shaken up on that play. Charlie Haraway replaces him, so it's Haraway and Robinson set in the eye behind rookie Matthew Reed as Holman comes in motion to the near side. Reed gives to Robinson following Haraway, and Paul punches out to about the 27-yard line, where Levi Stanley brings him down. And now it's up to the Hawaiians defense to hold Birmingham and turn the ball over to the offense. The Americans don't want to put the ball in the air unless they have to. With 4:05 left in the game, they lead by 3 points. Jenkins slips to the left. Dennis Holman to the right. And Reed, as calm as an old pro, walks up to the line of scrimmage. The rookie looks things over, gives to Haraway up the middle. Charlie hurdles a couple of tacklers and goes down at the 32. A gain of about 2 yards. Ron East on the stop. So a mixture of old pros and rookies in there now for Birmingham. Reed, technically a rookie, although he had brief trials with the Broncos and Oilers. Robinson, a 7-year veteran. Haraway, a 9-year veteran. 3rd and 3 for Birmingham. Let's see if Reed will go to the air or if he'll stay on the ground and not risk the interception. Hawaiians dig in. Reed will throw. Here comes the rush, and the ball is complete to Robinson. He stretches out, has a first down by inches. The pass was nearly knocked down by Gary Backus, but Reed fired the ball between Backus' arms. Amazing. And Robinson carries it up to the 36, gives Birmingham a first down. 2:50 left in the game. The Americans leading 22-19. They have the ball at their own 36. So it's going to be very tough for the Hawaiians to get the football right now. And I wonder what R.A. Copies is thinking on the sideline. We'll have an overtime if it ends in a tie. Reed to Haraway. Haraway almost trips over a blocker. Dances out of the way and gets up to the 38 or 39. And the Hawaiians will take a timeout. So a timeout on the field with a score. Birmingham 22 and the Hawaiians 19.
Pen and pencil sets have been very special gifts for generations, and the name Cross has been synonymous with fine writing instruments for more than a century. We have them at Hopeko Stationers. Let Cross express your good taste this Christmas with a 12 or 14 karat gold-filled ladies or men's pen. Or how about a chrome or sterling silver Cross, or the Cross soft tip pen. Remember Cross this Christmas from Hopeko.
We're always here when you need us. We're always here when you need us.
Looking for Yakiniku House Osaka? They are no longer in their own location on Kapiolani. The new Yakiniku House Osaka is located at 1020 Ke'Imoku, serving the same great traditional Japanese dishes. Sizzling beef, delicate seafood, mouth-watering chicken, pork, and liver. Try any one or a combination of delightful Japanese dishes. Relax in the lounge with your favorite cocktail, traditional Japanese dining, lunch, or dinner. And plenty of parking at Yakiniku House Osaka on the corner of Young and Ke'Imoku. For reservations, 524-1141.
The give is to Haraway, and he's tripped up as he gets back to the line of scrimmage, and that's about it. And let's see if the Hawaiians are going to take another timeout. Yes, they are. With 2:17 left in the ball game. They're taking a timeout. We'll stay right here. Hawaiians have 1 timeout remaining. Birmingham has 3 remaining. 2 minutes, 17 seconds left in a seesaw ball game. Birmingham leading 22-19. You really couldn't ask for a more exciting ball game in this World Football League playoff semifinal. And it has come down to the wire right now. I would think that the Hawaiians would have to stop Birmingham on this drive to have a shot at it. Either that or come up with a turnover. Reed is now facing a long yardage situation, 3rd and 6. As he goes over to the sidelines to confer with his coach, Jack Goda, who's been in a playoff pressure cooker before. Up in Canada, he played in 2 championship games, or coached in 2 championship games, I should say. 3rd down 6 for the Americans as they try to keep things moving at their 40-yard line. Reed rolling to his right, wants to throw, being chased out of the pocket, fires, and it's caught. Inside the 50-yard line. Making the reception was Dennis Holman. Brought down by Willie Williams, and Holman has a first down. And now, timeout will be taken for the 2-minute warning. So a timeout on the field with the score. Birmingham 22, the Hawaiians 19.
Just wait till you try our Primo, why you won't believe the taste. It's a taste that'll make Hawaii proud. In the old tradition of great beer making, we take our place. And it's time for us to really shout out loud. Primo's coming on. Primo's
There's something good going on at the Primo Brewery, and it's called Primo Beer. The best tasting, best quality beer ever brewed, and completely brewed right here in the islands. But we can only tell you what's happened to Primo. You've really got to taste what's happened. Primo's coming on.
Primo's coming on. Primo Beer. Brother, you aren't tasting it till you're tasting Primo Beer. Taste what's happening. Primo Beer. Brother, you aren't tasting it till you're tasting Primo Beer.
The timeout being taken for the 2-minute warning. The Hawaiians still have one timeout remaining. Birmingham with a 1st and 10 at the Hawaiians 49. The Americans lead 22-19, 2 minutes left. The give is to Haraway. He rips off right tackle for about 7 yards. Up to the 41. Adrian Young on the stop. And it's going to take a last-ditch effort by the Hawaiians to pull this one out. As the fans start to empty, the clock ticking, 1:42 left. It'll be 2nd down and a long 3 yards for the Americans. The ball at the Hawaiians 42, and Matthew Reed has been the hero in this ball game. As he replaced George Myra in the second half, and he has the Americans out in front right now. 1:25 left. The give is to Haraway. He has the 1st down and room to spare to the 33-yard line. Chuck Detweiler on the stop. 1:14 left. And the Hawaiians now will use their final timeout. 1 minute, 12 seconds left in the game. The Americans leading by 3. And Reed is playing like an old pro. You can hardly believe this kid is just a rookie. They have to wonder about NFL scouts. I was talking earlier about how sometimes a lot of the players think that the NFL people stereotype people, saying that Tim Delaney is too slow or Levi Stanley is too small to play defensive tackle. They had Reed ticketed as a tight end, and he flunked trials with the Broncos and Saints as a tight end, and you really have to wonder why they wouldn't make a guy who's 6'4", 2 1/4, can run, and has a cannon for an arm, why they would try to make him a tight end. Reed comes back into the huddle. 1:12 left in the game. 22-19 Birmingham. 1st and 10 for the Americans at the Hawaiians 33. Haraway, the lone setback. Here comes the safety blitz. To give to Haraway. Big hole. He's inside the 25. He has another 1st down at the 21-yard line. And the Hawaiians have used all their timeouts. That may about ice it. 59 seconds left in the game. Haraway, the old pro, who was a starter last year with the Washington Redskins. 49 seconds. Birmingham taking lots of time. They have 25 seconds to put the ball in play. We hit the 40-second mark. 22-19 Birmingham. 1st and 10 for the Americans at the Hawaiians 21. The movement up front. Reed keeps. Flags go flying, and down he goes. And now Gary Backus has the football, but the whistle is blown. And that big pile of Backus somehow came up with the ball. But don't get excited. Birmingham still has the football. The penalty is a legal procedure against the Americans. 31 seconds left in the game as the fans start to leave in droves. Birmingham apparently now will move on to the World Bowl to meet the winner of the Florida-Memphis game. And it looks like a long uphill battle for the Hawaiians is about to come to an end. 1st and 15 for the Americans as a result of the illegal procedure penalty. They have the ball at their 20, or at the Hawaiians 26. 31 seconds left. As Reed moves up under center, he falls to the ground, and that should do it. The clock will tick away, and the Americans will probably not even huddle. They'll let the clock run out. Hawaiians defense standing around helpless. There's not much they can do. Fans starting to count off the seconds. 13 seconds, 12 seconds. The Americans now starting to celebrate on the sidelines. Players running out from the bench. 6 seconds, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's it. There's the gun, sounding the end of the game, and the final score, the Birmingham Americans 22, the Hawaiians 19. Stay tuned for Hawaiian Football Wrap-Up.
The Football League playoffs have been brought to you on KGM Super B by Primo Beer. Enjoy Primo Beer, the light Hawaiian beer. By Datsun of Hawaii, Hawaii's #1 used car dealer. By Fisher Hawaii.